Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday, December the 12th, across the Delaware Valley. The Anthony Gargano Show, presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. You got to go to TrueMark.com/PHLY to see the credit union difference today. Well, yesterday, it's all good. All good. It's all love yesterday. As everybody spoke on the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts riff, and, Jalen's got love, and A.J. Brown's got love, and Sirianni's got love. Everybody's got love. So, from that perspective, bring on the Steelers. Listen, that's exactly how you have to play it. Do I think there's anything really real? No, I don't think they have acrimony. I don't think this is a T.O. Donovan thing. Clearly, those two despise one another, right? Like, they went at each other. And to this day, they still bicker to the point where we were watching Instagram Live the other day with T.O. and Freddie Mitchell, and they were just still trashing Five, right? Like, it was still going on. Man, I got nothing against that man, but man, that guy got blah. It was crazy, right? It was funny. I don't think that that there's malice between the two. I do think it stems from the football field. Now, I don't know their relationship. Obviously, Jalen's godfather to AJ's daughter. I think that's a personal thing. So I don't believe that there's any real malice there. It certainly didn't sound like that when Jalen was talking. And then AJ did say that, he said that on purpose. He was happy to get it out there about the passing game. And I don't know. Maybe it does jolt them into, kind of ironing out some wrinkles. I don't think, it's funny, the thing comes out, and I don't really blame, I know people go, oh my God, there's always drama and the media. I don't know what else the media is supposed to do when the story comes out. When BG says that on the radio, it's a story. What? When AJ after the game is frustrated and says, what could we do better in the passing game? All right, well, it's that's a story. And I think it's all pretty obvious. I think the pass game does need some work. You could still win and go on a 9-game winning streak and have the pass game not be up to snuff. And I think it's fair to extrapolate and say, all right, well, in the playoffs, you may need that piece of the puzzle to get to a Super Bowl. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't understand all the backlash that came out, and I don't think it's going to derail them. It's funny. We did Cousins Corner last night with the Brain, and the Brain loves the Eagles this week. I think I do too. I'm not sure about the game. I'm really looking forward to it. No, it looks like George Pickens not going to play. And no George Pickens, I don't know. I don't fear the Steeler offense. I do think the Eagles defense should play well. I don't see Russ going up and down the field in the run game. The moon balls, all that stuff. I don't know. I kind of like that. I like the Eagles on Sunday. I think the one issue is they haven't faced that front, right? So I'm curious to see how the run game is against the Steelers front. It's a good test for you when you're thinking about, Super Bowl. And that's what they should be thinking right now. You got a handful of teams, and you're one of them. And I'm glad I'm glad, and you knew it would happen yesterday, but I'm happy that they just do their thing. And I feel people when they talk about you don't want to be bothered by drama. I get it. Like the last thing, because you're the fan, you sit there and go, listen, just play football, man. I don't care what happens, like what you guys do, right? It doesn't matter. I just play football. That's all. And that's kind of your response. Good morning, VG.
Good morning, Anthony.
Is that your response? Just play football, right?
People all over the world, join hands, start a love train. Yeah, man, it's all peace and love down there. It's all good. Bring on the Steelers.
What do you think, man?
Can I just say, I love A.J. Brown. I love him even more. And when you listen to what he said, he's right. You know, things derailed last year. And there's things they got to fix right now, and he's bringing it out. And he's not wrong. You got to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, when I say the passing game, you know how it is. If you're trying to say something irritates you about a friend, you list your grievances, and the thing that really bothers you, you always make it the last thing you say. So he's like, oh, I thought it was I said passing, but it's blocking. So he named things, but then he says, or the reads. The last thing's what's bothering him, because you know it's not the blocking. You know it's not anything else. It's not the running game. You know what's bugging him. And he's like, if I'm going to hold people accountable, I want to win a Super Bowl.
We had Jason Avant on yesterday.
Yeah.
And Jason Avant is spectacular. And he went through it. Like,
undeniable. He broke it down. Case closed.
Like, he went through it and went through the stuff. I mean, I thought it was pretty odd. You know, everything that we kind of see, Jason talked about.
Yeah.
You know?
And I like it. AJ's like, if I'm the bad guy holding people accountable, that's it. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. That's all. He's just holding them accountable. And then, you know, I mean, and Jalen just can't feed him a bone. He's like, oh, you know, I got love for AJ, just like I got love for a lot of guys. He's got to always quantify it.
What I don't get is, and I think this is fair to say, hey, dude, just say, you know what, I have to do a better job at, you know, getting him the football.
Yeah, he was open. I missed him.
There are plays that I left on the field. Just be honest.
That's
like
it.
I don't understand the problem. Like, maybe that appeases A.J. Brown. Like, I don't really care about what, like, you could just sit up there and say nothing like he does, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But when A.J. Brown says something, just give him the bone. Like,
acknowledge him. That's all.
You know.
Instead, he's up there talking like the metaphysical philosopher again. And you know what was weird?
I know.
Aside from all the drama, all that's fine. The weird thing is he starts talking in third person.
Yeah.
That's how.
He's a weird dude. Like, I don't, you know, whatever. I mean, I kind of look at him. He's an interesting guy in that we don't really know him like other quarterbacks. Jalen is fascinating in that we knew Jaworski, we knew Randall, right?
Yeah.
We knew Donovan, we knew Mike Vick, right? We knew Wentz, right? All the flaws,
unfortunately,
right? We knew Foles, right?
Thank God,
right?
A little too much BDN. Ooh,
right?
Hey, Nick.
But we don't really know Hurts. Like, for somebody that's been the starting quarterback now in his fifth season, we don't really know much about him. Listen, I know he likes to keep it that way, and I respect it.
I mean, we know that he's good with the community. He supports people in the area who help him out, which is all great. K-Red's like, Jalen's interview answers always sound like he's being interviewed by the police.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is so spot on.
Yeah, man. Just be like, just be real. And just
there's never like. Here's the thing. There's never a conversation. I always tell people, like, when I do a lot of like consulting for different teams, where I'll tell them how to react, how to deal with media. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's the easiest thing in the world. You just make it a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be
talk at people,
right? And it's the same thing with questions. Like, they ask you questions. Man, you know, you guys saw it. Like, there are a couple plays on the field I want back, but we got the win, right?
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I mean, there's a million ways to couch it, and you just got to be cool with it.
I'm out on heavy is the crown.
I don't want to hear.
Yeah, heavy is the wallet too, bro.
Well, that's the point. Like, here's the thing. I got no sympathy for you. Mm-hmm. Like, I know there's a lot of people that cry about any kind of criticism that's thrown Jalen's way, which I don't understand a little bit. But like what's the big deal? Like, you know, guys have gotten it 10 times, 100 times worse.
They can't even comprehend what Randall went through.
No.
It was relentless.
No. And you want to talk about, you know, racially tinged.
Yes.
With Randall back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Please. Donovan, whatever you want, you can say, you know, Some of it he brought on himself, but he got shredded at times. And then after the TO
the worm
thing,
balls, the worm burners,
Oh,
like
my
Donovan
God.
can get away from that.
like he got smashed. Like, I mean, you play quarterback, you're going to get shrapnel, especially when you're not throwing the ball well. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't understand the hypersensitivity that surrounds Jalen. I don't get it.
But
Look, dude, and quite frankly, I don't really care. All I really want is, throw the ball to A.J. Brown, all right?
if he's open, get him the ball.
All right, get the ball to Devontae and run it with Saquon, and let's go to a Super Bowl. That's it.
That's it.
But
Easy.
It's funny. I don't understand. The Eagles have become you and I were. I hate to say this because it's going to sound. It's going to come out wrong, but we've been an Eagle fan our whole lives, right? We grew up here, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen them now become so popular that they're almost a different fan base.
It's like a frenzy. I mean, it's
You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's a weirdness because it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Eagle thing is huge, right? You have celebrities, you have international.
Who do we got? Kelsey's on everything now. You never had a player from Philadelphia all over national media like this.
No, I mean the Eagles. First of all, it's awesome.
Yeah,
because we never had that. But there's a lot of sniping that is within the fan base, at each other, which I never understood. Is there the same thing with Steeler Nation?
No. I don't know if Steeler Nation is quite like we are here. They're devoted, but we're a little more manic than they are.
But there's a lot of just by reading comments in social media. Andrew posted. We had Baldy on the other day, and they're still fighting over Jalen. Why are you guys fighting over the quarterback? Who cares? They won 9 in a row. All right.
Are we afraid he's going to demand a trade?
Nobody's saying. To those people that go, everybody's hypercritical. Nobody's saying replace him, right?
No.
Who's saying that? And then to the other people, he don't stink. He's not going anywhere. So what's the big deal? Just win. They want play point guard and win the game. Nobody. Who cares if he's not Mahomes or how you identify him? Whether it's game manager or point guard or whatever.
Is he top 10?
Right. Is he elite? Is he not elite? These stupid conversations go off the rails.
Yeah.
They're stupid. How to quantify who Hurts is? I mean, seriously. Is he top 5?
We do that. We debate that here how many times this year already? Is he top 10? It's wild. We do it, though.
It's unbelievable, the nonsense. I mean, you see it, Andrew.
All the time. It's insane. He just needs to play the role, and like you're both saying, stop the comparisons with Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
But
play the role.
Yeah, but the thing is, man, in that world, the good teams don't have a role-playing quarterback. The quarterback of good teams is something. You can't name all the good teams. The quarterbacks are kind of elite, except for Goff. All right, Goff is similar. Goff and Hurts should be exactly the same. I feel like.
Well, no, but if you look at the NFC, right? Look at the quarterbacks: Jalen, Goff, Darnold, Love.
All right, they're not a good example. Look at the AFC.
Right, well, that's the point. The best teams in the NFC, I'm not looking at.
Yeah,
but here you go. Look at those teams on the AFC. All they have is the quarterback, more or less. The teams in NFC, you look at the Lions, you look at the Eagles, they have weapons on those teams. So you need the quarterback in order to make those plays. You have a blueprint like the Lions where you don't need an outstanding stud.
The Chiefs have the greatest tight end ever.
Okay,
and
sure.
The Bengals have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Okay, they got one weapon.
2.
Each. Who do the Bills have? They don't have anybody. They have just Josh Allen.
Shakur's pretty nice.
Yeah, but come on, he's not
No, Josh Allen's a freak.
You look at Detroit, you got 5 weapons on that offense.
Cook is a good running back. I mean,
sure, but
I disagree with you. I mean,
I'm just saying, I don't think you
Like,
need.
what's your overall point?
You don't need that like star-studded quarterback on this Eagles team, because you have the weapons there that like a serviceable guy.
Yeah, well,
will get you to where you need to be.
I guess what we're saying is, I mean, look, every team is built differently, right? But I mean, I again, whether they rank like Burrow's a top 5 quarterback, and he's not going to make the playoffs.
Dude, how about speaking of Burrow? Like, they gave that warning about athletes being on the road in their houses, and his house gets burglarized during the game.
That.
It's wild.
Was that nuts?
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? The big story yesterday: Belichick goes to North Carolina. Now, if I would have told you, right, that Belichick is going to North Carolina before, like last year when he's on the street, we're wondering, where does somebody hire him? Is it the Cowboys? Remember, he was being mentioned here. He's in NFL films. Bill Belichick going to North Carolina.
He's a Tar Heel.
Very interesting.
It's awesome. It really is.
Is it? Why? Why is it awesome?
Because you know what? Because I'm a college football head.
Yeah.
And
you waiting for the Tar Heels to get relevant?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think college football is going to be huge. It's already becoming that way because of the playoff and everything. But because there's GMs now, like Mike Lombardi, who was with Bill, and I loved Mike. He did a great job. He used to do stuff for VSiN and a lot of media
shout
stuff.
out the Paisan.
Right? He was with Bill. He wrote really good writer, wrote a couple of books. Good football man. Was with Bill in New England. He's going to be the GM in North Carolina.
He's going with them?
Yeah.
It's Lombardi and Belichick?
He's like, because every college now has a general manager, which is what I want to do.
Look out, Georgia.
Right. Like, I want to be a GM in college. Right? Like, that's my...
It's a great gig.
I want to do like Woj.
Yeah.
And do that. But I think it's so fascinating because we all wonder, like, all right, whatever, Black Monday comes around, there's going to be 6 or 7 NFL jobs. You thought that Belichick would probably be a candidate for one. Now, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation that he wants his son
that's what it feels like.
him.
Yeah.
So he goes to Carolina. The Belichicks take over the program.
Yes.
And then Steve comes in.
That's what it
is the
seems
guy.
like. He's trying to lay it out for his son. Yeah.
So then will he come back to the NFL, or
No.
what do you think he's
No, that's his
he's
job.
done?
He'll go there and rebuild the whole program or build the whole program and go from there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of graduate school co-eds down there. Bill, like, he's gonna be wandering around Chapel Hill. Like, we know that he likes a certain age right now. What's his girlfriend now? 24?
25.
25? Like, out of here. Like,
But,
is she going to go on recruiting trips with him?
It is interesting, though.
I don't think so.
It's interesting because that he decides to do this. Like, just take his son out of it.
Take his son out of it. I think he's crazy. Unless he just got wind that no one in the NFL is going to hire him.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
Is it that nobody? I had somebody, the brain asked me last night, why is it that the NFL would not hire Belichick? And my answer is, look, the only reason why you don't hire him is because he'll hijack your whole franchise, right? Like, he's going to want control of personnel. He's going to want, overarching control, period. And how long do you have? It's one thing if you're 55, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're 70, like, I mean, how long are you going to stay and do it?
Right. Yeah, and you can't. He's going to come cause chaos for 3 years, get his record, and bounce.
Yeah, most likely.
Matt Decker called him Chapel Bill.
Chapel Bill. Wow, that's awesome, Matt. I freaking love it. Chapel Bill. Let's go to Chapel Bill.
Well, he has a great recruiting pool now. I mean, so many kids across the NIL and all that stuff, the transfer portal, they're going to want to come far and wide to come play for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought you were going
get them pro ready.
Say the big story was the Lurie minority sale and people speculating dome money coming. He's going to try and build a dome
well,
when
I
their
know
lease
that's
expires.
out there. I will tell you, whatever you do, I do not want a dome here.
No dome.
A retractable? You don't want a Super Bowl?
No.
NCAA championship game?
No.
Oh, man, I am
No
all
dome.
in.
No, I don't want a dome.
I'm all in on the retractable dome.
First of all, we're not a Super Bowl destination.
With a dome, why not?
No. The Super Bowls are meant for Vegas, New Orleans, Miami, like
LA.
party cities. They should never be in, like having one in New York was stupid. You shouldn't be in anywhere. I mean, listen, would I like to see Philadelphia get it? Sure, why not? But I don't think we're a Super Bowl. Jacksonville had a Super Bowl.
Jacksonville, Indianapolis,
Minnesota.
They shouldn't be there.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Minnesota Super Bowl was horrible.
Like, yeah.
Like I will tell you,
Tundra.
being out there for the Eagles Super Bowl and it was 6 below was horrible.
Yeah, but who wants to go there? Look what we did with the NFL draft. I mean, Philly's a party town. There's so many great spots here. I am
obviously there's great
for a
spots
dome and a Super Bowl.
You want to don't suck.
No dome.
Well, you just close it for the Super
not
Bowl.
football.
You can leave it open in bad weather. Just
Nah,
close it on
first of
rain.
all,
and-
I get it.
Only
First
for
of
rain
all,
and Super Bowl.
If you're going to build a dome,
Snow, the dome must be open.
if you're going to
Yeah.
build a dome,
Yeah.
they're going to close it during bad weather.
Well, we have to define.
We're
There has
not
to be a.
dome
There has to be
team.
a.
I don't want to.
We need a hearing over the
The
definition of
dome is
bad weather.
locked in snow.
Oh, it's horrible. It's anti-football.
Yeah.
I would have taken a dome during that Fog Bowl game. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't
bring
have
up my
gotten-
game from 1986.
Then you wouldn't
Yeah,
have
man, it's
gotten
still stuck in my still stuck in my
history of
crawl.
What?
Then you wouldn't have gotten the history of the Fog Bowl. It would have just been.
I was in
dome.
Chicago anyway, but give it as long as it's rain.
No.
Rain is the only thing you close it for. Snow, wind, let it
They're
all
not
out.
going to. They're not going to open it in snow in a snowstorm.
Yeah, we'll have to have a hearing. We'll have clear definitions of what it can be open for.
No, I'm so. Philadelphia is not a
Oh,
dome
NCAA
town.
championship, March
No,
Madness here.
I don't want it.
Each seat gets a button, and you can be like,
I'm
keep it
fine-
open.
I'm
yes
fine
or
with
no?
a regional.
Yeah, man, think bigger. Regional.
I'm fine with a regional. I don't want a dome. That's anti. I hate it. Look, would I like the Super Bowl in Philadelphia? Yeah, I mean, why not? Oh, of course I would. However, it's not worth the dome. I don't want a dome. I want nothing to do with a dome in Philadelphia. I can't believe you're pro dome.
I'm a dome man.
Dome bad.
Yeah.
You're pro dome.
Yeah,
It's so
man.
anti-football.
I want some March Madness here, man.
Forget that. Who cares about
And I want a Super
that
Bowl.
tournament? Who cares about the championship game, which is first of all, the fact that they hold them in these domes is absurd. It kills shooting. They got to curtain off parts of it. I hate that. I've covered a million of those tournaments.
I've
in those
been to
domes.
Syracuse Dome.
It's terrible. That's different.
Well, they still cover half of it for the regular season games.
Dude, I can't believe you're a dome man.
Yeah, dude.
I lost all kinds
Pretty
of love.
dome.
What's the last cold weather game you stood out there for?
2019
Football.
playoff game.
It's football. It should be like
You got that
you know,
picture of Jamie and I at the intro with the NFC Championship. And we're freezing.
Yeah.
Freezing.
Dome. You want to be a dome guy?
Dome.
Have a couple pops, warm up, and enjoy
Yeah,
yourself.
I got to tell you, that's
The
a
Liberty
big-
Dome. Yeah. Bring it right here, the Liberty Dome.
All right,
Liberty Dome.
that's horrible. Ew.
Welcome to Philadelphia, the Primo Dome. Yeah,
God.
dude. Primo Hoagie Dome.
Dome's dumb. Violation on VG. That's Uncle Frank. Thank you, Uncle Frank.
Take another gummy, Uncle Frank.
All right, we got the weekly headlines coming up with our man Pat McLoone, the editor from the editor's desk, coming up. We will talk to Larry Bowa about Mike Schmidt at 10 o'clock. We'll talk to Jeff McLane at 10:15 about the Birds. And at 10:30, we'll talk to Baldy. That's our lineup for today. A lot of good stuff. Hang with us and just say no to the dome. Joints aching, hands cramping, back out of whack.
Oh, joints feel so much better in a dome. Climate control.
Tooth aching.
Toothache.
Oh my God, I got a toothache that's so bad. Oh my God. Rodman's got you. Rodman Orthopedics, practicing specialized care, has been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission: high quality, compassionate, affordable care rooted in research. Research leading to new treatments and better outcomes. Each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty, on their body part. That's right. Hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard. so you can cross over the defense. You can run those routes. You can root for our teams like no other fans in the country. They're Rothman Orthopedics. They specialize in you, and that's right. For over 50 years, Rothman's participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics specialize in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today.
You got genius stuff going on. You know how in Dubai they do indoor snow parks, a dome with a wind machines and indoor snow. Hey man, let's talk about our friends over at
football guy.
Ace Hardware Home Services.
Start having some prepositions in your sentences.
What?
This, that.
Yeah.
That's football.
No. Football in a dome is a beautiful thing.
Ew.
So you know our friends over at Ace. They got the great store. Well, now they got home services to help you with all those annoying home repairs and projects. You got a leaky pipe. You got air conditioning issues. You got heat issues right now. You got a faucet you said you fixed last fall and it's still dripping. Well, Ace has got a person. They got a guy. That's like they're like the people in the neighborhood where if you need anything, they're like, we got a guy. Ace has got people. They got people to do all this stuff from plumbing to heating and cooling. They've got trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing their helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. You know, and they got trusted technicians. You know, they don't just hire anyone off the street. They know what they're doing. So reach out to Ace Hardware Home Services for any of your home needs. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project.
All right. Man. Dome? Where's Pat?
Man.
I need Pat.
From
From the editor's desk.
Yeah, the dome has to mimic the outside forecast. We have technology to do this.
Yeah, that's fake. Where's Pat?
Extra, extra, read all about it.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. It's time for headlines from the editor's desk with Pat McLoone.
Pat.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Pat.
I don't know, Anthony. I think, EVG, if you were looking for a yes man beside you, you got the wrong guy. I respect that he's not a yes man, but come on, man, on the dome. And then again, and he kind of started coming around on the golden bat just to give us a hard time.
Right? Listen, I don't want
Yes.
a yes guy. I don't care about that. But you can't tarnish our football. Philadelphia football does not have a dome. That's a mortal sin.
Agreed. Totally agree.
You guys are like a couple of troglodytes. Let's get with technology here and advancements, man. Golden bat.
You're a dystopian bike chain thief. That's what you are.
Man.
Freak.
You guys probably still watching black and white TVs. Get this dome going.
Oh, God. Oh, Pat. At least we have
Stand for
harmony,
football,
right?
stand for baseball.
I know. That's ridiculous. At least we have harmony with the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I knew it would take me a little while to, because a lot of times we have a mind meld, almost too much. But at one point yesterday, you said that Jalen's can kind of considered a sacred cow. I don't agree with you on that. Everything you said with Zach was perfect up there about how that, you could make the argument that Randall was the best of the bunch and how Randall would really play these years. And I thought, boy, that's really great. And then you said, I think that the town's tough on Hurts. I really do.
Really?
I do.
I don't see it at all.
I mean, this week's, I don't want to sound like an apologist for him because I'm not.
Too late.
And we'll get more into it in that segment. But, we have an Eagles Hurts segment, so we can deal with it at that point.
love it. I love it. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
without further ado,
if you don't mind, and thank you for the setup, excuse me, I do want to start with, I'll tell you what we have. We have Eagles future, Eagles Hurts, college football, Soto, and Penn State. And I'd like to start with Penn State. And it's tangentially related to college football. But I want to ask you guys a question. And I'm going to roll with this either way, even if you know it. But are you guys aware who the center is for Penn State's football team?
No.
The center for Penn State's football team brings up my first headline, which is Nittany Lion, Chocolate Thunder. The center for Penn State's football team is Nick Dawkins, whose dad is Darryl Dawkins.
Yes.
And it's an incredible melding of when we were young with today. I know a lot of times I skew real old, go back, but anybody who's listening today, if you didn't know Darryl Dawkins would have been a media sensation back in the day. Darryl was drafted by the Sixers right out of high school, only the second player ever, the first being Moses Malone. Darryl said he lived on the planet Lovetron, and Darryl was a dunking machine. And at one point, he did this dunk against Bill Robinzine of the Kings. And you need to know it was Robinzine because Darryl named his dunks. And this dunk he named.
Can I guess it? Can I guess it?
Go.
Robinson crying, glass breaking, rim shaking, blah, blah, I am Jan. What was it? I'm close,
Everything you said is true. Everything you said is true. In its entirety, it is Chocolate Thunder flying, Robinzine crying, teeth shaking, glass breaking, rump roasting, bun toasting, wham bam, glass breaker, I am Jan.
That is awesome. Oh, I remember the poem. I remember it in the paper the next day. I loved it. He was the greatest.
Oh, yeah. He was breaking it.
Look at that,
it was,
dude. Look at the glass.
Unbelievable. Larry O'Brien, the NBA, they all came after it about it. It was outrageous.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
His son is now the center at Penn State. Darryl was 6'11", 250. Nick is 6'3", 298. He's a great story. He's one of these guys that just worked all along and had to take a seat back. And now he's starting as a fifth-year senior on a really good offensive line. He's an incredibly advanced, mature kid. His father was real good at helping youth in his later years. And the son has revamped the Dawkins Family Foundation. If anybody wants to know more about the two of them, I would highly recommend the Big Ten Network has these things called The Journey a lot. And there's about a 6-minute Nick Dawkins journey on the Big Ten Network. And it was just terrific. In fact, when we did the back page back then, there was a little thing off to the side that would be right up your alley. And I'll send it to you, Anthony, it was all about the Dawkins dunk, but at the bottom, there was a Gary Smith column. And I know you like Gary Smith.
I love Gary.
And it was Gary Smith on Vermeil in 1979. There you go. Great job, Andrew. There's the Sixers, a smash and losing effort. The thing at the bottom is Gary Smith on Vermeil. A couple things that are great about it is it's just after they beat Dallas. And Vermeil had driven himself into the ground to the point that Otho Davis, the trainer, gave him a little blue pill, and Vermeil slept till 1 o'clock in the afternoon during the week after the Cowboys game. So that kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore.
Wow.
And then the other thing is they beat the Cowboys, and among different things, Vermeil got a telegram from Don Rickles. I had no idea that Don Rickles was a Birds fan.
Don Rickles was an Eagles fan?
Thrilled.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
He is one of us. Don Rickles,
Wow.
who to this day, if I'm in the house by myself, I'll fire up the YouTube just to watch that guy insult people. Don Rickles hated the Cowboys, and I thought it was great.
Oh,
but
my
this kid
God.
Dawkins is a really, really good story. And I thought I was hearing things when they said he was Darryl Dawkins' son. And let's add to it. He is B. Dawk's cousin.
Wait a second. He's Brian Dawkins' cousin?
Yeah, and I thought that somebody just pulled that out of their ear. And there's Darryl with Nick and Darryl's daughter. And it's in the Penn State Media Guide, so it's directly from him.
I didn't know Darryl and Brian were related.
I didn't know that either. The only thing I can think is I'll never forget that Darryl came from Maynard Evans High School in Orlando, Florida. And Dawk's from in that area of Florida. I mean, Nick played at Parkland, which is up near Allentown, because that's where Darryl lived when Darryl passed at age 58 when Nick was 13. And Nick has only the fondest memories of his father and what his father did and everything like that. So I just thought it was a nice little holiday.
Oh, my God. I'm texting Dawk now.
I'm so fond of with today.
I'm texting Dawk now and asking him if he's related to Chocolate Thing.
Man, Pat, you're just blowing minds. You're blowing minds here. I got pictures of Don Rickles on the sidelines with Leonard Toast. And he told Rich Eisen apparently he was in the locker room before the Super Bowl against the Raiders.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That is crazy.
You do it your fast-fingered best there.
That is wild. Hey, I'm wearing a shirt just for you, Pat. Little North Catholic love.
Oh, that's beautiful. I saw something the other day. Joe Rabzinski said there's some kind of Falcons event where you can get memorabilia. I was going to mention that to you. Once ahead, you're way ahead of me.
I love it. All right, next one. That's a great headline. Wow. Robinson crying. He's the best.
Dude.
Chocolate Thunder flying. Robinson crying. He broke 2 backboards. Remember,
one
was
last thing
Indiana. He shattered the whole thing.
He broke 2. And then the other thing I wanted to say is if people were trying to, if it was still too far afield, Shaq is quoted as saying, Darryl Dawkins is the father of power dunking. I am one of his sons.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Right from Shaq.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Your call as we move on, Anthony. Eagles future, Eagles Hurts, college football, or Soto?
Soto.
Okay. The headline here is, he's now Juan we hate.
Yes.
And I have nothing against Soto.
Yes.
And Soto's a great player. But guess what? He's on the Mets.
Oh, yeah.
He's out. He's out. We can't have it.
He's one we hate. Yes.
Can't have it. Now, Anthony, on your different levels of expertise, I'm amazed that a guy spurns the Yankees to go to the Mets. And it's not like the Yankees didn't make him an offer.
Yeah.
It sounded like it came down to an extra $5 million and a free suite that the Yankees didn't want to do precedent on because Judge pays for it and Jeter paid for it. But is Soto bringing on a little bit of trouble here that all the Yankees people are going to hate him? How's that going to play in the town, Anthony?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because that's never happened where somebody has spurned the Yankees for the stepsister, right? Like that just never happens. I'm shocked. To this day, I'm still shocked because you're right. It was basically a competitive offer. Yeah, no. And here's the thing: the Met people will love him, right? Like, because the fact that he chose, and there may be a sea change. Ew, I hate to think about this, but up there, the Mets may overtake them.
That'd be crazy. Now, I'll say flat out, I'm still more worried about the Braves than the Mets. The Mets were good last year. Everybody's raving about that lineup. All right, now maybe this is inaccurate. Somebody put up a potential 2025 Mets lineup. Lindor, Soto, Vientos. Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
But then, now this assumes no Alonso yet. Yeah, then Nimmo, Marte, McNeil, Francisco Alvarez, Brett Batty, and Jose Siri.
Yeah, like you're supposed to be afraid of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I'm
interesting.
not afraid of that.
Right. It's a lot like the Yankees that were so top heavy. You know, you look at this lineup and you go, I mean, first of all, Jeff McNeil's hitting fifth. All right. Go ahead. You know?
Jeff McNeil, I think he finally gets a start late in the World Series because they were in a panic.
Exactly.
You know, and they'll surround themselves with some people. It was Clay Holmes, I guess they signed to. So he's not done
They're
spending
making him a starter. Yeah.
But that brings up another thing as it relates to the Phillies and Soto is, does Philadelphia really want to be the best team money can buy? That's not our MO. I like a guy that's competitive like Middleton, but do you have to pay $760 million for the next guy and the next guy and the next guy? You know.
Do I want to be the Dodgers? Yes. Yes, I do, Pat.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
I don't think he was. Listen, would you take him? Of course.
The Dodgers?
No,
Soto. No, but
So
the mentality of the
yeah.
Dodgers is fine. Everybody,
But,
yeah.
I mean, I never took it seriously. Like, they were never going to be in that realm.
No, they were never in the Soto world.
Right. And then some of the stuff in the PHLY newsletter this week, Rich Hoffman had that, you talk about crazy money and $1.62 a second, $139,000 a day, $4.25 million a month. I mean, we've talked about a few things before. It's interesting that when we start accumulating doing this every week, I fall back on things we've had a lot of fun talking about, but it goes back to the old Pete Rose, 800,000 was too much. And, all of a sudden Bryce Harper has to maybe renegotiate at $330 million. And what we've talked about is the $1 billion contract. There's no doubt it's coming now. It's
Pat,
just a matter of who it happens for.
I don't know how a game can be healthy when you have that kind of money being spent. Like, I get that the franchises will accrue in value, certainly. But you have other franchises that entire payroll isn't equal to one player. That can't be good for the game.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I think also you're talking about the Mets lineup, like the staff, the pitching staff. Is Senga? No, he's fine. Peterson, Montas, Clay Holmes starting now, and Paul Blackburn. I mean, that's where the Mets fall off. Because the Phillies and Braves still have legit pitching. The Braves lose Freedom, and they're still got Sale, Lopez, and Strider come back.
Right. But, back to the notion, how much is too much? I'm kind of fascinated. If Soto was relatively happy with the Yankees, and it appeared that he was, in a good clubhouse situation, with the ultimate protection in Aaron Judge, do you start splitting hairs when you get to the 760, 765 million?
I don't understand. He had to have wanted to go to the Mets for some reason. Like, it couldn't have just been for another $5 million. I mean, at that point, that's money that just evaporates into taxes anyway.
And it's not worth the aggravation of some people hating you now, too.
Right. And I agree with you. You got great protection with Judge. I'm shocked. But there must have been something about the Mets and that got him that he wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, there's something unsaid or whatever. But, we'll find out. It'll make it more interesting for the Phillies, and that's fine by me.
All right. Next
So
one.
we got double Eagles in college football. A lot of times you like to split
Let's
it up.
go Hurts.
Okay. And the headline on that is passing blip or major problem. And as the day, I wrote it, and as the day's going on, it looks like it's the former. But here's where the conversation gets going. There's some things you can't change about Hurts. You and I were texting during the Thursday night game last week when we were upset that the Lions were going to get it done. And Jordan Love threw a dart to the tight end in a really tight space. And you said Hurts can't make that throw. And you're right. He can't. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But there's a part of it with Hurts that, like, no matter what Hurts does, and again, I don't want to be an apologist, but I do think he listens. And I agree that the persona, we don't really know him, but I think he took the turnover thing to heart, and he's done really good with that. The play where AJ was wide open, that drove me crazy. But that speaks to the fact that, Fran Duffy was on the show, and boy, I haven't really been widely exposed to him. He's terrific.
He's great.
He's really
Franny's
good.
terrific.
Fine job by you there. And he really communicates it well. I look forward to meeting him one day. He's a good dude. But on that play, he threw a quick out to Dotson. People are saying, he's not getting rid of the ball quickly. Well, that play he did, and it cost him. Because if he held it a little longer, he had Brown all the way down there. Now, that assumes he would have seen Brown, and I don't believe he would have. But, if he starts holding it and looking for big plays and gets sacked, we're going to say he's not getting rid of it in time. If he starts going for big plays and gets picked, we're going to say he's back to the turnover.
Yeah, but it goes back to you. Yes, that shows you that he's off kilter. The fact that he might get rid of it too quickly or hold on to it too long. Jason Avant yesterday, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to Jason, Pat, was fabulous in breaking it down. I don't think people are too hard on him. I don't. He's got the best offensive line. He's got Barkley. He's got elite weapons. Like, I don't know what else a quarterback would want.
I'm not saying
right?
they're too hard on him. I'm just saying he's not a sacred cow. He gets his criticism, in my opinion.
But I think there's a lot of people that get upset when you point out flaws in his game.
Okay.
Like, to me, listen, I think the kid is a point guard, right? Like, the best way to win with Jalen is he's a point guard, right? Like, distribute the ball. Like, when he's getting rid of it quick, right, and making that first read, or it's 3rd and 4, and he'll take off and get the first down. That's when he's at his best, right? Like, he'll run it, mix in, quick hitters, take a shot to AJ down, on a go route. But, like, they're as far as that next level of quarterback, I mean, everybody said, like, it's obvious. If you just watch the tape, you see it. Like, he's not in that rhythm. He's not, seeing things quick enough. And that's kind of throwing him off. I mean, it is what it is. I just think it's obvious. Doesn't mean he can't win. It doesn't mean he stinks. But it means that, listen, this offense around him is pretty damn elite.
Right. And that's very true, especially vis-a-vis Donovan. But, a lot of it was exacerbated by AJ's comments. 83 yards, we all saw it, and we're like, that's not much. But, he only threw for 70 against the Giants. It was the same thing, 66.7% completion, 10 for 15 for 70. When they won in the playoffs, as good as they were, in the first playoff against the Giants, he threw for 140. In the next game against the 49ers, he threw for 121. Now, they pounded both of those teams and down to stretch or whatever. And the one game that we all agree he played out of his mind in the Super Bowl, and he threw 302 against the Chiefs. But there have been a lot of games, like last season, they beat the Chiefs. He threw for 124. So there's some times that if the running game is going to be that good, he's not going to put up incredible numbers. And like we've always talked about a feel for the game, anybody with a feel for the game knew the passing game it just wasn't there last week. And if they really needed it, it would have been a problem.
Well, I mean, I just think people look at that, and I don't think this is overly critical of Jalen. I think it's like people go, hey, if you do play Detroit or whoever it is in the playoffs and you need to score, you need to, then what? Like, are they able to do that? I think that's the crux of the worry when it comes to Jalen. Now, it may not come into play, right? Like, he protect the ball, hand it to Saquon and make a couple throws, and that could suffice. But I don't know.
Yeah, Pat, I mean, you saw probably Fran's piece where he talked about Jalen. It's not just last week; it's the last 4 weeks where he's holding the ball longer than anyone.
Yes.
Only 2% of the time does he throw the ball downfield, and 42% of those long dropbacks are scrambles. He throws the ball away or he gets sacked. I mean, and I don't know if that's a criticism, just bringing that out, but that's a worrisome trend going into as we're heading towards the end of the season and the playoffs.
And I think the league the league just looks for those illegal players downfield, and you can't blame the linemen. They don't know whether it's a run or a pass and all that stuff. I'm trying to gather some sticks here about the whole notion about, for the life of me, I don't know why that is a penalty. I don't know who is, I don't know who the
That's a great point. That's a great point. It really is. I don't know why that is a penalty. Why does that have to be a penalty?
Yeah, I have a couple feelers out on that. And, on a slow week, that might be one of the categories. Yes.
All right. College football.
Okay. And the headline on college football is Dirty Dozen. Here we go. We're down to 12 teams. Andrew knows to pick Anthony's squad there. And, the whole thing, it's so much fun. I really do think it really elevated the game. I don't think anybody can have a beef that doesn't get in. If you're on the borderline for 12, you really, there's not much conversation. But a couple things grabbed me about it. And one is, I think Penn State got a better draw than Oregon. Oregon's the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're off the first week, but they get the winner of Ohio State versus the Violations Greg All-Stars,
yeah, that's right? Vols.
And then Penn State, now granted, they could lose either game, but Penn State to get to the semis has to beat SMU and Boise State.
Yep. Yep.
I feel very confident about Boise State.
Yep.
Because you just have to get 9 guys to team up and stop Giante and let the other guy do that. So, and that's a little weird, how it plays out. Like, looking at the BetParx odds, the team tied for the highest odds is Arizona State at plus 6,600. They're a 4 seed by virtue of how they do this. So, look, we're going into it. It's going to be so great the way they space all those games, the 20th and 21st, and then around New Year's Eve. I'm fired up about it, but I think they'll fine-tune it a little bit. And my other thing is this. I want to ask you guys, BetParx has Texas as the favorite. I don't see that. I saw that they've lost twice to Georgia.
I'm with you, buddy. I agree with you. I don't see that either. I don't.
I saw them.
I do think they're going to go to 16. I think you're right. They're going to tweak it, and they're going to go to 16.
I think they'll reseed
and
too
they'll
afterwards.
Reseed, and you shouldn't have a bye. I mean, you shouldn't do that. So I'm with you. Hey, we got. You're going to love this because we have Larry Bowa with us coming up. And to talk about the Mike Schmidt documentary, which is pretty awesome.
I heard you with Jimmy. Jimmy Salisbury was with you yesterday, and he's got an advanced screening. It's tonight at Pops, right?
Yeah, tonight. I cannot wait for it. Yeah, we got.
Well, hopefully
Larry.
There's a lot of moments of Bo giving Schmidt a hard time because both Larry and Pete were very instrumental in getting him playing at his absolute finest.
Yeah, and Larry was. I saw a couple clips, and Larry was great at it. You know, he's fantastic. So
Absolutely.
number one, Eagles. What do you got?
Number one in my category, there it's the Eagles' future, and it's 10 in a row is no joke. We're doing a lot of crying and stuff. They could win 10 in a row, and it's I guess my thing here is I'll ask both of you, what do you want to see the rest of the season? And that there is when the Eagles won 10 in a row, when they got to 13-1. In the last time they went to the Super Bowl. The years the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, they've thrown up unbelievable records. They were 14-3 in 2022, 13-3 in 2017, 13-3 with Andy Reid. But that's the question, guys. What do you want to see the rest of the way?
It's a great question, and you're right? Like we get so hung up on, they got to win the Super Bowl. They got to look dominant every week. Well, the fact is, you're not going to be dominant against Carolina, right? It was a natural letdown game, a trap game, whatever you want to call it and define it. And the fact is, having this record is ridiculous. Again, if they lose to the Steelers, I actually don't think they will, but if they do, so be it. I think we all want the one seed. That may not happen. It doesn't matter. They're going to finish with an incredible record. They're not going to lose more than one or two. So, I mean, you turn around and go, I tell you before the year that they're going to be 15-2, 14-3. You go, what?
I think you're crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
To your point, it's freaking awesome.
It really is. And I wanted to illustrate my point by saying how great their record has been in the last 3 years and how fortunate we are because that's never happened. But you know what? I was wrong. There have been a lot of times in Eagles history that they've won double figures. Right now, the Eagles are 36-11 over the last 3 seasons. They were 37-11 under Andy from like 2002 to 2004. He had some great runs, and they had another great run in under Buddy and Kotite. They won 10 games 5 years in a row. You know, so
I'm with you, brother.
We can't cry.
No, I'm with you. You're spot on as always. That's why you're the best, man. We love you. The great Pat
Okay,
McLoone.
guys. See you next week.
Thanks,
There
Pat.
he is from the editor's desk, giving us the headlines of the week. Coming up, we're going to talk to Larry Bowa. Cannot wait. Our man, Bo. Bowa, first appearance during football season. This is a good
I've
time
missed
for him.
Bowa.
I know. He's the greatest.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some of our friends. All right. Tell us about a little Rite Aid, my brother.
I love Rite Aid. I love my girls Marge and Ruthie. One thing you can do to help yourself during this time of year when there's some bugs going around, protect yourself and your family from staying up to date on your immunizations. Rite Aid pharmacists, they are specially trained certified immunizers, and most of the vaccines are free with your own personal health insurance or government plans like Medicare Part D. Rite Aid pharmacists, they can vaccinate you for a variety of things like pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox. They got RSV, which is seems like a new contagious seasonal virus that affects respiratory tract, so they can protect you from that. COVID-19 vaccinations are still available, as are vaccinations for shingles. If you're over 50, you're at high risk of this, but also anyone who's had chickenpox is at risk of shingles, which is a painful rash caused by the same virus that causes those chickenpox. Select Rite Aid stores have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions, like, are you up to date? If you're nervous, they'll calm you down. They'll take their time to make personalized recommendations for you. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State agent health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for more details.
VG. Let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Yeah, don't forget, if you're looking for this weekend, including tonight's game, go to where's the Cousins Corner at with Brad, with the brain? Where can people find that?
If you're wanting to find the Cousins Corner with the brain, all you got to do is go to YouTube. Go to YouTube, look up Cousins Corner. Go to the Anthony Gargano Show. There's a whole list there, and you will find it under there.
We go through every game. I think we went an hour and 20 minutes last night.
If you go to the PHLY YouTube site page, and go under Anthony Gargano, it'll be there.
Yeah, well, we will go through every game on the card, Brain bet a ton of them. He likes it. Brains are sharp.
It was a rainy day better last night, man.
Yeah, he was all over it. Hey, listen, don't forget my team, the BetParks app. Every Friday at noon, they double the spread. That's right, double the spread. BetParks picks one NFL game every weekend and lets you double the spread. It's a great offer for BetParks users, all BetParks users. And in fact, it's like crusted all year long. Don't forget, you can always bet more than just the score, all the props, player performances, touchdowns, passing yards, rushing yards, you name it. Sunday, Birds, 5-point favorite against the Steelers. 42.5 is the total. All right. Make a note. The BetParks Sportsbook app lets you double the spread every weekend. All right. BetParks.com has terms and conditions. Go there on Friday and check it out. Double the spread. There's always another way to win on the BetParks app. You got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Ohio, Maryland. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. This portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy, riteaid.com for the store nearest you. So tonight is the night that on MLB, I can't wait for it, the Michael Jack Schmidt documentary.
That MLB network's good.
It's
Their
excellent.
programs are great. Their specials are good.
And I had to get our man on to talk about it. He's the best. He's all over it. He is, of course, one of the reasons why Michael Jack is the greatest third baseman of all time. He is the great Larry Bowa. Bo!
What's up, Ant? How you doing?
I cannot wait for tonight, man. I can't wait to watch this, man. I'm so excited.
I think it's going to be great. I saw some bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the entire thing, so I'm looking forward to it tonight. And I was very fortunate to play next to this guy. He unbelievable athlete. It's unbelievable how great an athlete Mike was at the beginning, and he didn't have a lot of confidence early. I don't know why. You put any kind of ball in his hand, bowling ball, basketball, football, golfer, he could do anything. And I've never seen an athlete like this in my life. And, usually guys that are that athletic, they're not as big as Mike. Mike, you get to see Mike up close. This guy was strong.
Yeah.
And I knew the very first year, I know he hit under 200. And, but he hit 20 home runs, I think, right around 20. And I said, this guy's going to be something special. And it was ironic that early in his career, he didn't mesh with our fans here. I have no idea why. But obviously, you talk to anybody now, they appreciate what Mike did. And I think this video, or I shouldn't say video, this show tonight is going to show what kind of person Mike really was.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I mean, it's a great tribute to one of the greatest athletes ever to play in Philadelphia. You brought up what an athlete he was. You guys had that basketball rim at the Vet. And I remember hearing stories that he was a great basketball player.
Unbelievable. We early in our careers, we used to stay here, and all of us had stayed here in the winter, and we go play different high school faculties. And it was competitive as heck. But, obviously, Mike, he could hit threes, he could rebound. There's nothing he couldn't do. He could dribble. And I'm just amazed at a guy with that kind of athleticism and do what he did on the baseball field was incredible. There's no question. But might have been the greatest fielder that I've ever seen at third base. I didn't have the privilege or honor to play against Brooks Robinson. He was in the other league. It would be hard to understand that somebody was better than Mike defensively. If you had to compare somebody, I guess Brooks would be the guy, but I've never seen anybody do the things he's done on the baseball field.
One of the things that he would make that play where he would have the charge and barehand that ball and in one motion throw it to first. It was nobody did it better than he did.
Effortless. He would practice. He would get so bored taking routine ground balls. He would invent plays that maybe would never come up all year, like moving to his left and shoveling the ball to set. I mean, it was unbelievable. I said, what are you doing? He said, I know I got these routine plays. I want to do these that come up every now and then. But I never seen a play. The only play that I saw him miss was the ball that Lopes hit off his glove to me in the playoffs. And then Bruce Fromming, he misses the play at first base.
Yes.
But that was a rocket that Davey Lopes hit off of him. But that's really the only play that I seen him really get handcuffed on. I'm sure there were other plays, but when you play next to a guy like that, you expect him to catch every ball no matter where it's at. He could go in, he could go back, he could go left, he could go right. Again, there's nothing that he couldn't do. I'll give you a real quick story. When he first signed, they always bring up the top picks to work out at that time. It was at the vet because he was going to go to Reading. And I was taking ground balls, and you know how you feel somebody behind you, and I'm taking my ground balls, getting ready to play. And I've read all about how great this guy is. And then I looked over and I said, "You want to take some?" He says, "Yeah." And he says, "Do you care?" I said, "No, jump right in." So he's taking grounders, and I'm watching this, and I'm going, "Oh my God, this guy's unbelievable." And he's a shortstop. So little did I know it was going to turn out the way it did. And I said, "Oh, by the way, Mike, congratulations." I said, "But when you go to Reading, I hope they teach you another position because I plan on being here for a while." I look back on that conversation. I'm going, "Can you believe you just said that to a Hall of Fame?" I didn't know, obviously, he was going to be a Hall of Famer. But I look back on that story and I shake my head. I said, "I can't believe I said that to this guy."
Oh, that's fabulous.
It was unbelievable, though.
Talk about your friendship for a minute, because you guys, I mean, you talk about making your bones together, cutting your teeth together, all those games, and just how close that group was, and your relationship, especially back then.
Hit me, Bull, and Schmitty. We had this 3 lockers right next. I was in the middle of those 2 guys, and we would go back and forth every day. Schmitty was really low key compared to Bull or myself, and we tried to get him out of his shell a little bit. I don't think that's just his personality, And I think what happened is when he came to Philadelphia, they saw this guy make these plays effortless. And I think a lot of people, because his uniform wasn't filthy, they said, "Oh, this guy doesn't care." He cared as much as I cared about winning. He just kept everything bottled up inside. And I think the icing on the cake is when Pete came over here. Pete tried to tell him every time they played the Phillies, they look over there and say, they'd have meetings saying, "Don't let Schmidt be." And Schmidt looked at him like, "Really?" And I'm saying to myself, "Mike, are you kidding me? All these home runs you hit, all these plays you make, you didn't believe all that?" And but Pete kept telling him how great he was, how great he was. And when you grow up with somebody like that, like Bull and I, we went through the minor leagues with him. We knew how great he was. But I think when you had an outsider come in and tell him how great he was, it probably meant a little bit more. And I don't know. I just eventually, obviously, the fans warmed up to Mike. I think coming out there that one day with the wig on.
I was going to ask you, do you remember that day?
That was another thing where Mike's trying to break the tension a little bit and let people know, "Hey, I'm okay. I'm down to earth." I just think that he came across to the Philly fans like he was, I don't know, aloof. That was so far from the truth. It was unbelievable. This guy was as competitive as anybody I've ever seen. And he just wanted to be perfect at everything he did. I mean, he expected, early in his career, he expected to get hits every single time up. But to do what he did on a baseball field, I'm really looking forward to this thing tonight. It should be very, very interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be tuning in tonight in Philly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't understand. I was younger and didn't get what the issues were with the fan base. Now looking back on it, I get why everyone loved you, because you wore your emotions on your sleeve, and
right.
Everybody knew you bore down, you were just always busting it. So that always resonated. And I guess that's the town, right? The town would always connect with guys that were
blue collar,
scrappies.
Yeah.
I think with Mike,
and I think where they don't see it. A lot of times, when we took ground balls and everything, it was before the gates opened up. They didn't see this guy's work ethic. It was off the charts, and I guess because he made things look so easy, that's what was unbelievable. I mean, Schmidt could go out there and take 10 grounders and be ready to play the game. It took me 40 or 50. But that was just because he was such a great athlete. And I got one more story for you. So we're playing at Wrigley Field, and this wind is blowing out 40 miles an hour. So we're sitting there, and Danny Ozark was the manager, and Schmitty was in a little bit of a funk. And he goes, "Hey, Danny, and I'm getting my batting gloves on, getting ready to hit because I was hitting at the top of the order. And so Schmitty says to Danny, hey, why don't you put on a hit and run today with me and make me stay on the ball? And I'm going, Schmitty, do you see that flag out there? You got more power than anybody in baseball. And you want Danny Ozark to put a hit and run on? Wait till we go to the next city to put on hit and run. Well, it turns out he ended up hitting 3 home runs that day. And he looked at me when I said that. What do you want to hit and run for? He said, makes me stay on the ball. I said, you don't need it. You can hit balls off your knuckles today, and they're going to go over on Sheffield Avenue. But that's the kind of mentality. I mean, he wanted to hit 320 is what he wanted to do. And, when usually power hitters like that, you get a few guys that can do all that stuff, Bonds and now Soto. But Schmitty was always going to be 270, 280, maybe, he wasn't going to be a 330 hitter. That just wasn't his style. He swung and missed a few times. But he had so much ability that and I scratched in my head and I'm going, man, if I had that power, I wouldn't even think about putting a hit and run on with you. But that's what he's always thinking about, how to get better. He was like 0 for 12 or 0 for 13. He was striking out. And most of the time you would put a hit and run, stay on the ball, but not when there's a gale blowing out to left field like it was at Wrigley.
Oh my God. He used to when he would get hot, and it was always around Chicago, right? When he would get hot, it was like he talk about bunches. He'd hit like 12 in like 10 games or 15 games.
He's like, well, if I had to compare him with somebody on the team now, it'd be Schwarber. When they, but yes. When Mike went cold, it wasn't real cold all the time. He would get his walks all the time. So if he was in an 0 for 14 slump, he might be 0 for 14 with 8 walks. So I mean, he would do things like that. But to do what he did, especially when we were young. I got all these Mike Schmidt stories. So he's playing, he's a rookie. He hits a walk-off on Bob Gibson at the vet. Now he's rounding third and it's a walk-off. So Gibson still in the game. He's going slowly towards third because he's going in the clubhouse. And he made Schmitty run around him. Didn't say anything to him. And Schmitty's a rookie. So it just so happened we played them on a Sunday. We went somewhere else, and then we had to play the Cardinals again the next weekend in St. Louis. And so we're going to St. Louis. And sure enough, first time up, boom, he gets him in the ribs.
Oh.
And, everyone, Mike's a rookie, Bob Gibson, one of the greatest pitchers ever. So he beat us that day in Chicago. Schmitty beat him, in St. Louis. Schmitty beat him with a homer 2-1. He shut us out in St. Louis 3-0. So they interviewed him and they asked him about Mike Schmidt. He said, was that on purpose? He goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. He said, well, you hit him. He hit him a walk-off on you. He goes, let me tell you something. When I pitch, half the plate's mine and half the plate's the hitters. They just have to guess which half that I want that particular day. And I'm going, wow. That's what kind of competitor Bob Gibson was. But Schmidt never said a word. He got hit. He was a rookie. He says, I guess that's respect right there.
Yeah.
When a guy like Bob Gibson says, you beat me, but here, take this. And I'll never forget that. He made him go around him, and Schmitty didn't say a word. Schmitty didn't flip his bat or anything like that. He ran on the bases, but that sticks out in my mind a lot when I look back at Mike's career.
That's a great story. Hey, also, and I know you played with him, Dick Allen, Hall of Famer. What's that mean, Lara? And can you tell us about him a little bit for those that didn't see him, about his immense power?
You know what? And when I first came over, and I signed, I signed my very first contract coming to the Phillies in '66, but I didn't get to the big league. I went to camp in '69, but all I read about was what a bad guy Dick Allen was. Oh, this guy's a troublemaker. He's this, he's that. I didn't know anything about Dick Allen. Spring training was there, and I happened to be in spring training. Unbelievable person. Anyway, he went his way, and then we eventually got him back. And to me, he was as good a teammate as anyone could ever have. Always willing to give advice. Talk about a power dude, man. This guy swung a 36-inch, 40-ounce bat, hit balls places. He makes Schmitty look like a single hitter. Nothing against Mike, but this guy was so strong. But I've never seen any bad things about Dick Allen. He helped us get to where we wanted to go because we were young. We were starting to feel ourselves a little bit. And he would always talk to Bull and Schmitty about because they were both power hitters, what to look for in certain situations. And I tell you what, when you listen to Dick Allen talk about baseball, might have been one of the smartest individuals that I've ever been around as far as the knowledge of the game. What a great guy. I was very fortunate to play with his brother Ronnie when I first came up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And we won 26 games in a row there, and Ronnie was the first baseman. And, you know, at that time, there were still racial issues.
Yeah.
And Dick he had what he went through in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I can't believe people calling him names, but what a tremendous individual he was. And to look back at what Dick went through when he was coming up, he had to stay at different hotels, eat at different restaurants.
That's horrible.
I mean, I know Jackie Robinson set all the standards, but Dick Allen went through a lot, man, to get where he was. I'm just so upset that he wasn't around to see this induction into the Hall of Fame, because this should have happened a long time ago. No doubt about it.
Big time. What do you make of our off season so far? What are you thinking? Like, what in your mind? What are you hoping for?
I'm not disappointed, because I know Dave's trying like that.
Yeah, it's early.
You know, I think, Ant, this is my opinion. When you have a reputation like Dombrowski and he suggests a trade, I think all these other people are saying, wait a minute, we better look into this a little bit. This guy hasn't missed on trades. So I know he's out there trying. I don't know. I know that I was with him after the last out in New York, and he was pretty upset about the way we play, the way we approached our bats. I know he wants to get a couple more guys in there that give you better at bats. When I say better at bats, I mean 2-strike approach, hit the ball the other way. And, you know, the game is such now where home runs they're in. And it's going to be hard to change the mentality of hitters now, especially when you're 32, 33 years old. And, you know, everyone keeps reading Bohm and Marsh and Rojas, you know, and the reason they're asking about them, first of all, money-wise, they're good to get on your team, but they have a lot of talent. And teams aren't going to pick up big contracts, I don't think. So, you know, you're going to see these guys. And I know Tom's had to temper they called Bohm up and said, hey, these are rumors. People want you because you're a good player and all that. And I'm not saying none of these trades are going to happen, but sometimes writers and everything throw stuff out there. And if you're Bohm and you're sitting at home saying, man, Philly's trying to get rid of me, that's not the case at all, believe me. Alex Bohm is a good player. But there's only 2 or 3 guys on our team that if you are to make a trade, they would be guys that other teams would want. They're still under control. They still have arbitration. They're not asking for $200, $300 million. So that's just the nature of the game right now. And I think that's what's happening right now with our team. Teams are a little leery dealing with us right now. And because Dave, he doesn't miss too much. And the fact that the Mets jumped out on Soto, that made them better. There's no question about it. But if people think the Mets are going to win because they got Soto, I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to have to go out and get some more pieces, because I still like our ball club. I like our pitching, but I know Dave's still trying. And I'm sure before spring training, you're going to see some changes in that on that roster.
Yeah, we went over the Mets lineup already. I mean, listen, it's top heavy, right? Like, once you get to 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, especially since Alonso's not going to be there. I mean, all of a sudden it's a drop off. Well,
you know what? And the name of the game, when you get down to it, is pitching.
Yeah.
I like our pitching. I like our guys that we have in the rotation. I'm looking at the Met rotation. I'm not saying they're bad pitchers, but I'll take our rotation over the Met rotation any day. I like our bullpen better than the Mets right now. Now, I'm sure that the Mets are going to continue to add on here, because I think spending that kind of money and you think you're going to just get one guy and catch up with everybody in the East, that's not going to happen. So I expect them to keep making some moves, but I also expect our guy, Dave Dombrowski, to do something. It doesn't have to be during these meetings. It can be before spring training. You can go, you still got 2 or 3 months before we start. Dave's going to do something. He's a Hall of Fame guy, and he's not just going to sit on his hands. And I'm sure he tried during these winter meetings to do something. And as you well know, it takes 2 to make a deal. And nobody was biting at the winter meetings up till now.
All right, last thing. Bowa Damas. Eagles,
I messed up last year.
Steelers. What are you thinking, brother?
Well, I've been doing my homework now. Wilson's 6-0 at the Vet. Well, not at the Vet, playing
Yeah.
against the Eagles. 4-0 playing in Philly. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but I agree. I heard the last part of your last guess. I think this was a sandwich game, this last game. And I think their eyes are set on Pittsburgh's a good team. Defensively, they're going to be this is my opinion. I think they're going to make Jalen throw the ball. They're going to try to shut down the running game, which everybody's tried to do. But Barkley's unbelievable, man. This guy, he's to me, he's the MVP. I don't even think it's close, but I think that's what the game plan is. I'm going to stay with the Eagles. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like a 20-17, 24-20 game. But I think the Eagles are going to come out, and I think the passing game is going to come into play a little bit more this weekend because when they stack the box and they got a good defense, they're going to make the Eagles go in the air, I think, to beat them. But I like the Eagles at home. I really do. I messed up on the Mets. Hey, I messed up on the Mets series. I thought for sure I was sick after that series. I don't know. That's 2 years in a row now. We've come up a little bit short, and
I don't know.
As you well know, Anthony, the window in professional sports closes. I'm not saying ours is closed, but we're getting to that point. We got to do some damage here that's coming up. There's no question about that.
I know. I mean, listen. I mean, you said it earlier with Dombrowski. I mean, just disappointing in approach. It felt like we were just off balance. You know.
Yeah, I just think guys get up there, and I know people say, well, when you hear they're trying too hard. What do you mean they're trying? They're trying to get 3-run homers. We're down 2 runs instead of trying to get on base and passing the baton. For some reason, the last couple of years, we've gone away from our element of taking walks, hitting the ball the other way. And it shows up when you're facing good pitching and you start chasing like we have the last couple of years. It makes it very difficult to win. And then, hey, let's face it. You watched our team last year. Our bullpen imploded in that series, especially at New York.
Yeah.
And they pitched good all year long.
Yeah.
I just
didn't
think
see that coming.
Yeah, I did. That was the one thing I said. This isn't going to happen with the bullpen. I could see hitters going into slumps. I could see starting pitching maybe having a bad game, but our bullpen was so consistent, and I was sort of in awe of what happened there. I said, man, that shouldn't have happened. But sometimes, you got to hit rock bottom before you enjoy the fruits of victory. I want another parade down Broad Street.
Damn right, brother.
I know John Middleton does too, and maybe the Eagles are going to give us another one. But I like the way all the sports teams are coming together right now. I like to see the Sixers get healthy, and once they get on the court, I think we'll have some fun. I love what the Flyers are doing right now, so I think it's going to be a good time in Philly for Philly sports.
You're the greatest, brother. We love you, man. Listen, we will talk to you beforehand. Merry Christmas. All right. God bless you and the family. Cannot wait tonight. You'll be all over it. You're a treasure.
All right, Ann. Take care and have a good holiday and a happy and healthy New Year. And let's go Phils.
Go Phils, brother. You're the best. Larry Bowa. Bowa Thomas. Always the greatest, man. You kidding me? By the way, one little nugget. All right. Brian Dawkins. Remember we talked about Pat McLoone? Pat brought up?
Yeah.
Dawkins and Daryl Dawkins.
Daryl Dawkins, yeah.
And whether or not they were related and how Dawkins' sons play for Penn State. So Dawk said, we talked about it a few times and it's possible, but we could not connect the dots.
Oh, wow.
So that's what Dawk just said.
I got a nugget for you guys.
You think?
What?
No, I mean, go ahead.
Okay, so you know how the talking point right now is Russell Wilson 6-0 against the Eagles? You know the last time the Steelers won in Philly?
Never.
1965. It's the last time they won in Philly.
Yeah, the Eagles have
play
always
more.
So take your 6-0 and stick it up your gigi, all right?
I was going to say, I got a nugget. The Center City Arena just passed through City Council, full committee. He's going to do another vote on Friday or next week, so it's pretty much a done deal. We're going to get our Center City basketball arena.
Wow.
Bring on the dome now, Center City Arena. We get a
dome.
dome.
Get the
Let's
dome
go.
out of here.
Not a dome.
Move into the 21st century.
Jeff McLane, yeah.
Is he there?
He's here.
Oh,
Yep.
good.
He
Okay,
looks
good.
like a domesman.
I got to ask him about this. Who does such a great job. I love him. You know that for years. I think he does such great work.
I love him more.
From the Inquirer, our buddy Jeff McLane. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Oh, he's always got this aura around him.
Yeah, he does have the aura, but you're muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
I look like I'm like in heaven
Zeus.
or something. I got
You are.
great.
That's what he said. It's the light, the way you look, like you look heavenly.
He was like Zeus in the clouds.
I don't know what it is.
What, now, we've been arguing all morning about a dome. I hate it. I think it's antithetical to Philadelphia football. Where do you stand on the dome?
Well, I'll tell you what I've reported out. I don't think it's very likely. Talking to some people that would know. Now the Eagles lease is out in 8-9 years, so like maybe a new stadium, but I don't know if that's, and I also don't know if that's what this whole getting minority owners and getting the valuation of the franchise out there is about. I think Jeffrey's already invested some of that money with Goldman Sachs. So I don't think this is about the stadium. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's a way for owners to get some cash out. I mean,
yeah, right.
These things go crazy, but again, it's a way to keep your ownership, but also take some of your money out of it. And I think it's smart on their part.
Yeah, as a reporter, I just was more interested to see if this had any legs. And I know someone kind of just threw out there, rumor is, and they can do that. I would never do that. They have a good stadium. They've always managed to upgrade it in ways that would improve the experience, I think, for fans there. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. We've already got how many years? It's 20 years. There's a 20-year anniversary of the stadium. It goes quick, but they have like another 8-9 years on the lease anyway. We're not gonna do anything before that.
All right. Well, I buried the lead. So the big story obviously was the olive branch that hit yesterday. So why don't you go through it chapter and verse, since you know it better than anybody?
So who do you think was the olive branch from extended by, Jalen or AJ?
I think it was more AJ, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think it was both. I don't know. I think an olive branch just kind of appeared, and this is what it was.
I'm still kind of reporting the story out the way I report it. Versus like, they're gonna. I thought both did very well in handling the situation. It was smart of the Eagles to get them. Well, Jalen's always talks on Wednesday, but it's smart to get Jalen out there ahead of it. I mean, AJ out there ahead of it. Clearly when AJ said what he said after the game, it was a story. I didn't take it to necessarily mean he was talking about Jalen. And I'd circle back with AJ and talk to him. I said, hey, at this locker stall, I said, hey, how this is going to be conveyed. I just want to make sure I'm being responsible, et cetera. Because he was like, when I went to his locker stall with a number of other reporters, it was like terse kind of, just a few word answers to a lot of the questions. Clearly, okay, AJ's not happy. Devontae had spoken just before that. He was a little more upfront about it. But when I circled back with AJ, he's like, no, I'm okay with the public messaging of this. It needs to improve the passing game. Sometimes those messages have to be delivered in a public setting. So that was the way I took it. I wrote the story based off that because it was certainly worth writing. He had said it. Devontae had said it. Jalen had talked a little bit about it as well. Yes, there's a lot of it revolve around Jalen. Certainly. When you went back and watched the film, and then this is not just a 1 week thing, he's struggling. But there's a lot that factors into that. But to me, I think, and I think maybe a little, if I would rank them, would probably be Jalen number 1, maybe coaching 2, receivers 3, and offensive line 4. I mean, it's a lot of it is about the quarterback. But I don't think AJ was necessarily calling him out there. Then of course, you have the BG coming out, and from what look, BG's tapped into that team as well as anybody. He's a captain. He knows what's going on. I do think that he kind of exaggerated the situation between the quarterback and the wide receiver from what I've gathered and talking to people. Look, AJ is one of the most liked players in that locker room. He's like so far from T.O. Like anybody to even make that comparison. And I was around the team then too, that won the season. This isn't remotely close to that. It's not like that. Yes. Do they have issues every now and then? Certainly that happens. You're going to have this kind of, if you're talking about sausage making, what's going on inside the building, you're going to have this at times. And I'm not trying to downplay a lot of it. You guys know me. If it's true, if it's what's happening around the team, I was the one who reported about Jalen last year. But from everything I understand, he is making more of an effort to reach out to players. He's trying to be more open. So I don't think that's the issue.
No, I listen, I'm with you. First of all, AJ is not a diva. I never got anything remotely close to that vibe. You know him better than I do, but I've never gotten that vibe, that diva wide receiver vibe. I think that guy's a competitor. I also think, like what you just said, which is, dude, like when you compete at the highest level, you got highly competitive people. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to. There's a part of you that's going. These things happen all the time. It happens with we don't know about half the stuff, probably more than half the stuff that'll happen. It's just human nature. If you play sports, there's always going to be. You're competitive. There's always going to be things that come up. And truth of the matter is, they got to improve on the passing game.
Yeah, and I think that's just, the story is what's happening on the field. The story is what when you go back and watch the film, that to me is the story. It's why has the offense again, we understand why it's become run based, but has it atrophied so much that it's affected the passing game? Has it affected Jalen's ability to not see ghosts and to not hold on to the ball too long? I mean, I asked him point blank, are you holding the ball too long? And he said, yeah, sometimes I am. And I think that was a step forward for Jalen. Typically, sometimes he'll kind of not want to, there are times he does, but in a very general way. But he was very specific about answering this question. Oh, the question was very specific, and he answered it head on. And I thought that was one of the better Wednesday press conferences I've ever seen out of Jalen. I think he was being honest, and I think he was trying to be open. He was trying to be more of himself. Is his confidence in himself sometimes does he over, but you have to be that way to play that position. So I think you want that. And he has shown over his career, going all the way back to his freshman year at Alabama. I mean, this is a kid that's hard to keep down. He does bounce back. And look, he has done it before. That's the key here. Can they get him back to playing? I mean, honestly, just even a month ago, you'll take that. Is it
the Bengals game? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it going to potentially be an issue when you play better teams and get in the playoffs? I mean, we'll see. This Sunday is going to be the toughest test for Jalen in this offense. So I think we'll get a better indicator. But it may not be entirely fair to him because they are struggling. I don't know if they can turn it around all in 1 week.
No, I'm with you. And you've seen him do it before. I think, let me ask you a question. How much of I don't want to turn the ball over, I want to make sure I protect the ball is in him? So if he's just a tick late, in your mind, you're a tick late, I'm not going to imperil the football. How much you think is that weighing on him?
Yeah, I definitely think it's weighing on. I asked him specifically that question. Is the emphasis on not turning the ball over affecting your ability to throw downfield? And he kind of danced around that one a little bit. But he did say, hey, this is what the offense has become. This is what, we want to win this way, or we have won this way. And there's clearly truth to that. And a lot of it has to do with Saquon and how well he's running the ball and how well the offensive line is run blocking. But I don't think you can look at what they've done and not say it is a result of the way Jalen is performing in the passing game. You can't look in this league. You want an elite quarterback. You want to have, if you have a great quarterback, you're going to ride that quarterback. And why? Because the rules are tilted towards helping the quarterback in the passing game. If you get behind late in the game, you can't run the ball. You need a quarterback to go out there and drop, and teams know that he's going to drop, and he's got to be able to complete those passes. And the Eagles have been to their credit, haven't put Jalen in that situation very much, because they run to get ahead. I mean, or they'll pass a little bit ahead, but they are able to run to get ahead and then the run to finish them. I mean, that's hard to do week in and week out, but they've done that. The concern, and AJ is voicing that, is that when it matters, when we're playing these better defense, when we get behind, can we do it? And, Jalen has shown before, he hasn't been given a lot of opportunities to win games late. He has done it on occasion, the Bills game last year.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think they're concerned about.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. This team is on another epic winning streak. The bottom line, too, is they are winning. Now, the style matter. I remember that Thursday night game against Green Bay when the Eagles won on a short week running the football. And this is when Doug was coach. And Jeffrey was like, they weren't thrilled. I think you wrote it all about it. You covered that.
Yeah.
Is everybody cool with winning with Saquon?
They're cool as they keep winning. If they keep winning, Jeffrey has kind of tried to dispute the narrative about him. But that's kind of stuff I've reported. The Bears game, same thing. In that playoff game, the double doink game, Jeffrey's excitement after the game was muted. This is a playoff victory, was muted because the passing offense was not, it didn't really do much until, I guess, Foles drove him down the victory, or Golden Tate touchdown. Jeffrey wants a dynamic passing attack. There's no denying that, but it's not just because this is what it makes him happy and he's, No, I mean, he's been around football for a long time now. He knows the odds are greater of winning a title if you have a dynamic passing attack, if you have a dynamic passing scheme. That's what that's all about. We just talked about it. Having an elite quarterback in a dynamic passing offense more often than not will give you better chances of winning a Super Bowl than one that's based on pounding the ground and having like a stout defense. Now, this is what the Eagles have, and we'll see how far they can get in the playoffs in riding that type of system. But I mean, Jeff wants to win ultimately. He doesn't care as much about style of points, but I think, he knows that the style in which you play your offense can factor into your ability to win a title.
Now, I do think the way they're winning now, so much has to do with their defense, because they're playing complementary football. Like, that defense I know Carolina, and I think that was more of a kind of a letdown situation, but that defense has been really, really good. My only fear would be, Jeff, that the front wears down because it's thin. But I like the way Jalen Hunt's playing. I think, as long as Jalen Carter's there, and as long as he is as dominant as he is, that front will be there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying to look for what will get the team. This isn't last year's team. This is definitely a little more like in terms of the vibes. But again, I go back to what's happening on the field, and this defense is so much better than last year's defense, and that's why you'll probably be able to ride this wave through this week. Perhaps this will be a tough game, but beyond that, I mean, the season is playing out. It could be if the Eagles lose, let's say they play a good game against the Steelers, whatever, but they lose, and the Lions win, then the Lions would have to still lose 2 of the last 3, but essentially the Eagles are going to be locked into that 2 seed. But to get back to the defense, I mean, I agree with you. Some of the concern is about the edges. I mean, no BG. I know Bryce Huff wasn't great, but that's still a body. You should be getting him towards the end of the season, or maybe they'll just have him back for the playoffs. That gives you a body. 3-man rotation is, Vic Fangio said he's done it before. He did it the one year that they went to the Super Bowl with the 49ers. or maybe it was 2016. He meant a few years later, but that's hard to do, especially when one of the guys is a rookie. One of the guys is in his second year. Yeah, Carter can eat up bodies, but if he's getting doubled and the guys on the edges aren't winning their one-on-ones, and that was kind of what we saw on Sunday, then someone like Bryce Young, who's playing better, but he can still carve you up a little bit, and that's what we saw on Sunday. So, the defense is better, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the edges are specifically where I would be a little concerned about this defense as the season shifts into the postseason. As
always, brother, great stuff.
Can I just ask, Jeff? Can I just ask if you have with Jake Elliott? What's are there concerns and vibes in the building? Like, what's the confidence level going forward with him?
Jake has to be the happiest guy in that locker room with all this with the drama, right? I mean, it's almost like everyone's forgotten the fact that he just can't seem to make a kick over 50 yards, and he's missed some obviously at a shorter distance than that. I think at this point, just gave him a contract extension. Like you have to almost ride this through. He's been able, he didn't have a good season in 2020, and then there were questions about whether he'd be back in 2021. He came back and he killed it. Now they're in the middle of the season, and so it's gonna be a little harder for him to kind of get back to kicking the way he was, just because it's a mental thing. It's like standing over a 5-foot putt, knowing it's to win whatever it is, or in some of these, in this case, let's take it back maybe to 10 feet, because he's missing the longer ones. But those are ones that used to be slam dunks for him, and they're slam dunks for a lot of NFL kickers nowadays. But I don't know. I think that they're going to have to be ready, perhaps, to, if he keeps missing big kicks. Do you trust him in the postseason to win a game for you from beyond 50 yards? I don't know. I think they may have to ride this out because of what they have invested in Jake, and because of, I guess, their ultimate trust in him, because he can and has shown he has gotten it done. But you can't have many more games where he's missing kicks like this.
Yeah, big time. My brother, great stuff. The podcast, what's your subject this week?
Uncovering the birds. We did a big thing on Saquon. Obviously obviously everything he's done on the field is special, but this is a special off the field. Yeah. And I kind of quizzed or just talked to a lot of people in the organization, a lot of players, just about what he brings to the locker room, to everything that's happening with this team. And it's a huge reason why I think that they'll be able to get through this little rough patch here. Also, there's a segment there just about AJ talked a lot about why Saquon coming in really helped him, because he was the enforcer, the kind of the bad guy, and he had to be a little bit of that on Sunday, and that kind of blew up in his face a little bit. But Barkley's a good guy, but he's not afraid to call guys out, and I think that's really something that people haven't really seen much of. They don't put the film out on that. But AJ and a lot of other players are telling me that Saquon knows how to do it, but doing it in a way that isn't too harsh, too critiquing. And anyway, so we go really deep in the Saquon Barkley in the latest episode.
I love it, man. I'm in on that. I can't wait to take a listen to that. Thank you, my brother. Great stuff as always. We love you. Thanks, Jeff. All right, let's talk. We got our man's coming up to go over Steelers, Eagles, football. Baldy's not a dome guy.
Oh, of course not.
No way.
I can't wait to ask
dome guy.
Don't even ask him. Come on, he's not a dome guy.
Well, y'all let you ask him.
I don't want to ask him. I don't need him to ridicule me. He's going to ridicule me.
Domesman.
He's a domesman. He's a domesman.
Yeah.
All right, we got to ask
Gotta
Baldy.
stay strong on the
Part
dome.
of the story today, Mr. Dome. All right, let's talk about some of our friends. Call me a troglodyte. Well, I'm supposed to take that.
Someone said Luddite would have worked too.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Let's talk about Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. It is engagement season, right? It's the holidays, very romantic time. So you met that special someone. You're going, you know what? I'm going to get engaged. And we're going to get engaged over Christmas. Go see your own Golden Nugget Jewelers, 8th and Chestnut, right in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City. Your own's going to walk you through the whole process. All right? He's going to go the whole diamond purchasing thing. He'll go through it. You'll look at the setting. You'll put together a ring that will knock her out. That just she'll go nuts. She'll love it. So go to Golden Nugget Jewelers. And listen, you know what? Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, necklaces, bracelets. Listen, whatever girl in your life, whatever woman in your life, go to Golden Nugget Jewelers. They got you covered for the holidays, all right? Merry Christmas to you. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com. It's where Philly gets engaged. All right. Also, let's talk about Parks Casino. How about giving a gift of headline entertainment this holiday season? Purchase gift cards for concerts and comedy at the Excite Center, the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, the Parks Grill Steakhouse, and more, all at Parks Casino, my casino of choice. We're there last night. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Right there, Street Road 95. You got the PA Turnpike exit. It's right there, man. Parks Casino. Here are tickets on sale for these headlines. Here we go. SNL's Colin Jost returns 2 nights at Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
Oh, Scarlett, you look great in that dress.
Plus, country artist Cole Swindell on February 7th.
That's a new one.
How
Cole
about
Swindell.
that, boys? Another new
Man,
one,
I'm learning
man.
all this country music.
Gotta look that one up.
January 18th, the reggae sounds of Shaggy.
But you caught me on the counter.
Was me.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, whoa, Larry. Whoa, hey, Larry.
February 8th, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
Ah, they come to snuff the rooster. Oh, yeah.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Oh, man, my keys. Where'd they go?
March 22nd, country star Lee Bryce.
There's a rumor going around
about me and you.
Joey knows that song. He was singing it this morning.
You do, Joey?
He loves
You know,
country
sing us
music.
some Cole Swindell.
Oh, my God, dude. You got to do it. Oh, my God, that's great. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all the shows. Parks Casino, this is got to you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We got an Italian skateboarder from South Jersey. Listen to country music.
Listen to country, yeah.
Listen, the whole world is a melting
Wild,
pot.
man. It's wild.
It is wild. But one guy is a constant,
He's wild, too.
and we love him. He's, of course, the one, the only, Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, Baldy.
That's right. The one, the only, Baldy. All right, just to get it out of the way, right? There were like rumors, and we don't think they're true. Jeff said they're not true, but there were talks about a new stadium, potentially, and it being a dome in Philadelphia. Would you be pro-dome or anti-dome?
Well, you remember a couple years ago, cause I don't remember how long, maybe it's been a decade, but remember when they were going to outlaw Eagle fans from bringing hoagies to the stadium? Remember like that whole controversy, and people went ballistic. Like, we can't bring our hoagie. We can't go to Wawa and get our hoagie. Like, screw that. Remember, like, you imagine if they said we're going to put a roof over the head of an Eagles stadium. Like, they would just ban, like, they wouldn't let the construction even get started. They'd be out there picketing. Like, there's no way they're going to build. Now, I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie just had his team valued at $8.6 billion. And I'm sure he's thinking, boy, the events we could put in a dome stadium in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. We'll have WWE in February here. You know, like, whatever. Like, I understand the business side of it, but fans would not go for that at all. No way.
No, I'm sitting next to one, though.
A fan would. I am all in on the dome. I want the big events. I want the big parties. I don't want to be bundled up at a game. I want to be in a nice, like, just a hoodie or a T-shirt and hang out. You know, you don't need to see all the talent bundled up. Like, come on, man. Let's have some fun at a dome. The parties that would bring Baldy with the national events. Come on.
No.
Listen, I was a vendor for the Minnesota Vikings when I was a kid at Metropolitan Stadium. And I've been in Minnesota at US Bank Stadium the last 2 weeks to see Arizona and Atlanta. And Minnesota, this is what they do now, okay, in Minnesota. Like they let fake snow fall in the stadium in the build-up to the kickoff.
Oh,
fake
horrible.
snow falls out. And like that's okay, we're still in Minnesota. We still want to we want to embrace the elements. We'll have fake snow.
That's terrible.
And I remember selling trays of soda pops, to all the people that needed a mixer, for the drinks that they had during the games. And I was racking in big money when I was 15 years old, selling soda pops. Like I still have a hard time going into US Bank Stadium. I still can't even look at the Mall of America where Metropolitan Stadium used to stand, where Rod Carew stole home 7 times in a season. It still is hard for me to register. There's no way. Like I'm driving across the Walt Whitman Bridge into downtown Rome and to seeing a dome stadium over at Eagle Stadium.
Oh, man, you're living.
Listen to that. That's genius.
He's living in the past, man. Baldy, you're living in the past.
Get out of here.
I like tradition. I have a Christmas tree up. It's a real tree. It's not fake. It's a real tree. Like I'm not.
I love him. That's why he's the greatest.
Baldy, you see what they do in Dubai? They have skiing resorts inside dome. We can create whatever the weather is outside.
They have
we'll
a
create the
hotel
dome.
that's under the water, and I'm going to go stay in it this year. And I'm going to watch the fish swim around my bed and my hotel room and all that stuff. And I'm going to eat in a restaurant under the water. But that's what I'm going to do on vacation. But I'm not going to a Sunday afternoon tailgate to a dome stadium in Philadelphia.
Thank you,
Like
brother.
I'm holding on to certain things.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Let's talk about Eagles Steelers. Speaking of football, this is football, man. The Eagles and Steelers. Give us a good scouting report. It looks like Pickens probably won't play, but give us a good scouting report on the Steelers.
Well, their offense will put you to sleep. Russell Wilson, this is Russell's game right now, and he's playing great. Don't get me wrong. Their offense line is okay. They've got 2 rookies in there starting. They're good players. If you want to watch a game within a game, Jalen Carter against Mason McCormick, the rookie out of South Dakota State, he's not ready for this animal in front of him. But, the good thing about what Russell's doing is he knows his defense leads the league in takeaways. Like they make one splash play after another. They did it last week. Keanu Benton intercepts a pass off a screen, sets up the offense. Like Russell knows the defense is going to put him in position to score points, kick field goals, whatever. It's a check down Charlie. That's what their offense is. We'll check it down to Jalen Warren, to Najee. We'll run it as much as we can, as effective as we can. We'll find a play here or there that works. Honestly, this offense is about as basic as you can get. And they rely on their defense and special teams to keep them in all these games, and they got 10 wins doing it that way. There's no Pickens. He was their guy that could win on the outside, that could win in the end zone. When they went to him, there's games they didn't go to him. But they have a formula, and the formula is pretty good for them right now.
How do they match up with the Eagles' defense?
Well,
particularly the run game.
Like Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, I think Jalen's a better player myself, but Najee gets the majority of the carries. Jalen's changed the pace back. They'll have Cordero Patterson lined up back there at times. He's not bad. And Russell will run a zone read every once in a while or scramble for a first down. But honestly, they're throwing to Mike Williams, who caught a touchdown pass the day they traded for him. I haven't seen him in the end zone since. Freiermuth is a big target at tight end. Van Jefferson's a guy. He caught a touchdown pass last week off, a Chip Kelly triple option play. But they're not very fancy, and they don't really throw the ball down the field much. I think Philadelphia just sits on them. I would say if you wanted to look at the stat sheet on Thursday morning for what's going to happen on Sunday, Zach Bond will have 16 tackles. N'Kobe will have 11. They're going to make a ton of tackles on their checkdowns, in their screen game, run the ball between the tackles, which they like. They like the inside trap game, the power game. Sale Malo's excellent at that. The center is really a good center. Zach Frazier is a good player, really good player. I like him a lot. I call him Matt Frazier. He likes to take all the guys to the mat. Like he's a state wrestling champion. Matt Frazier's good, but the Eagles are better up front than the Steelers are.
All right, other side of the ball, this will be the best front the Eagles offense faces.
It will be. It will be. Like, they're good. You know, Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward, like, they're good. Their linebackers have got more speed than they've had in a long time. Landon Roberts. You look at Patrick Queen, this rookie. Peyton Wilson is an awesome, awesome player. So they got a lot of speed there at linebacker. They got some big guys up front. But honestly, they're not the steel curtain. They have guys in TJ, Herbig, Highsmith, guys that can ruin the game for you if you let them. I texted Lane Johnson the other day because that's his matchup, TJ. Like, he's got a plan for him, and he knows, he sees what he can do. But I would take Lane Johnson in that matchup, like probably 8 days a week. Like, Lane knows how to play him. He had a good game against him 2 years ago. I'm sure, there's cause for concern, but I mean, he's their best player. And if you shut him down, all right, maybe Herbig will make a play, but I don't know. I like the Eagles' offensive line against this front all day.
So you feel pretty good about the game. It feels like you feel like do you like the Eagles in this game?
Well, I mean, there's a stat out there, cuz I don't know. Like the last time the Steelers came to Philadelphia and won. You have any idea what year that was?
Yeah, 1960, what is it, 4?
65.
65.
At Franklin Field.
Yeah.
Like, they're 0 for 10. No, I'm not, like, that stat doesn't mean anything. It's just a stat.
Yeah.
Like, that had nothing to do with Minka Fitzpatrick. Although the Eagles went bombs away against the Steelers 2 years ago. A.J. Brown caught 3 touchdown passes. First 3 touchdowns of the game were all long bombs. They attacked Ahkello Witherspoon. I don't know. I would say that you got to take some shots against this defense. Dante Jackson, Joey Porter. I mean, I'd take some shots this week. I'd stay with the formula that's working, but I would take some shots to AJ for sure. Like, it's going to make him happy. It's going to end this controversy. And he can, that's his strength, is the go ball. Like, take a couple shots in this game. Why not? Like, I think, anybody that's been to Lincoln Financial Field this year, like, they've watched, like, duds. Atlanta was a dud, right? Jacksonville was a dud. Cleveland was a dud. Even the game against Washington was kind of a dud. Like, it's time to kind of, we're in the entertainment business. It wouldn't be bad for Jalen to throw a couple go balls to A.J. Brown. It'd be good for business.
Yeah, you know what? And by the way, and the one guy who's been pretty vocal too is Devontae. Like, he like to get involved a little bit. Like,
I know. I mean, look, here's the fact. They run I've never heard of this stat since Rex Ryan was coaching the Jets. But through 13 games, they run the ball 145 more times than they've thrown it. That's 11 times a game. They're running it 11 more runs a game, every game. They do it 21 times. Now, some of them are cold passes and Jalen, runs with it. I get that. But, like, we're talking about 58% run right now. Now, that's okay. That wins you a lot of games. It's a formula around the league. Detroit's using it. Washington's using it. There's a lot of teams that are using that formula, and it's working. They're not turning the ball over. But this is what the Steelers prey upon. They prey upon takeaways. They lead the league. They've got 28-13 games. Under Mike Tomlin, they've never led the league in takeaways. Never. In fact, there's some years where they couldn't take the ball away. So you don't really want to play into their hands. But at the same time, I mean, I think you got to be a little aggressive here in this game.
The one thing I'd like to see more of, and I'm curious at what you think, and look, those great running teams that you talked about, Detroit, right? The Rams will run it with Kyron Williams, right? You look at what they do really well is play action. I'd like to see the Eagles' play action game get a little better because I think there'll be a lot of more opportunities for bigger plays, and it just works within the constraints of the offense.
I totally agree, cuz. And actually, they went to a strong when they came off the bye week after they got demolished by Tampa. They went to that formula quite a bit. Guys were outspoken, and it wasn't just AJ. I mean, there was offensive linemen. They were saying, the quarterback's holding the ball. Let's play action. Let's point and shoot. Let's get the linebackers to get sucked up.
Real quick, thank you to everybody watching in Roku and Samsung and Xfinity One. We love you guys. Of course, we continue right here on YouTube as well. I'm sorry, Baldy. Go ahead.
No. I think the play action game should be a bigger part of their overall game plan, especially when you're trying to stop Saquon right now. I mean, he's running for 2,000. And, this is a team that could, maybe slow him down a little bit, but still, he gets a runway, he gets to the fourth quarter and he gets his carries. He's breaking one. Like, that's just his mentality. That's just a fact of what's going on this year. So, you should use that as an advantage and use that to take some shots down the field and play action, put it in his belly and pull it out and get guys sucked up right there, gearing up, and safety's walking up to try and stop it. That'd be a good formula.
Yeah, I think you help Jalen, right? Like, it freezes them a little bit, gives you that tick that you need. And, that's why the secret of the Lions, the secret of the Rams, right? Those big offenses is all about play action. Where do you?
No, and I think Jalen's good at it. I think he's good. I think he's good, like identifying the target, throwing the ball accurately, and getting out of his hands on time. I think it would make everybody kind of breathe a little easier over at NovaCare right now.
This is a great week. There's incredible games this week. So it's Eagles, Steelers, it's Lions and Bills. How do you see that one?
Well, like, if you have to really, like, as an analyst, if you're studying Detroit right now, you got to really do your homework, because you're not going to know some of these guys playing defense for them. Yeah. I mean, they picked up Jamal Adams last week. On Monday, he played Thursday night. It's like, you got to study, because they've had a rash finish. But the one thing that's constant about that team is their offense. Like, they start feeding Montgomery early. Sometimes Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't even touch the ball in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They just batter him with Montgomery. Then they sting him with Gibbs. And they use the play action game. And, like, they got a home run hitter in Jamison Williams. And Amon-Ra and, Laporta are awesome, intermediate. So they've got a formula. And I think it's going to give Buffalo a lot of problems. Because what they do is, with that formula, they really melt the game. Like, sometimes you look at the possession chart after the game, and you look at these teams getting 8 possessions. And if you turn her over once, or you get stopped on downs, or you kick a field goal, like, Buffalo scored 6 touchdowns against the Rams last week. You don't even get a chance really to score 6 touchdowns, the way they kind of choke you out. I like Detroit and their style of play against Buffalo this week.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Green Bay, Seattle, which is a really interesting game, man.
Good game. Real good game. Seattle's playing great. Defensively, I'm in Florida right now, so my dive partner plays for the Seattle, Big Cat Williams. He's a diver, free diver. He's awesome. Holds his breath down there with that little gun of his for 2 minutes. But he's playing the best football of his life. And he's like, maybe I shouldn't retire, Baldy. Like, maybe I should keep going. They're playing really good defensively. Like, this is going to be a good game, really good game. Like, Green Bay could go there to win, but Seattle's won 4 in a row. I feel like they're going to win this division the way they're playing right now. Gino will throw it away, but they made some changes on the offensive line. Oluwatimi's playing center now. They got Latawa playing right guard. Like, they've kind of fixed some things up front. They got Big A back at right tackle. They've kind of fixed some things up front. Offensive line, and the offense goes through Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, he's been almost unstoppable the last month.
Hey, okay. I got a call from Anthony twice. I'm like, because he's at school, and my heart just dropped. And I'm looking, I was about to go, hey guys, like, listen, I got to call Anthony back right now. But he just said, he called me on accident. So, all right. Go. Thank God. All right. These parents.
Hey, let me just drop something. So yesterday, Jason Kelsey's got this new show coming out called Late Night.
They're filming it right around the corner.
Rehearsal. They're going to film it right in Philly.
Right near our studio.
Yeah. Okay. Live band. Okay. Live audience. So we did rehearse. So they asked me if I would sit in the rehearsal yesterday with Selleck and with Ryan Clark. So I said, yeah. So, we're just, got all the producers out there, and Jason's running the show. I just got to tell you, man, everybody loves Jason Kelsey, but this guy's talent is ridiculous. Like, he's going to be really good. It's a football themed show. They're using a lot of NFL Films music, a lot of NFL films, guys mic'd up. So it's going to have a real football feel. You're going to have big guests. But I got to tell you, man, just in the rehearsal yesterday, man, that guy's got unbelievable talent, man. Like, the personality comes through. His brain is as sharp as anybody's. Like, he's fun, naturally entertaining without trying to be. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, man. It's going to be on Friday nights. It starts in January. I think it's going to be a home run, man. I can't wait to watch it myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Baldy, did you hear the band at all? The band's called Snack Time. I'm a big fan of those guys locally.
Are
Did
they?
you hear them?
So what's their rhythm?
They do everything. They're
sound?
like jazz, funk, blues, some rock. They're just mad talented. They got some horns and stuff. They're a fun band. Yeah.
I feel like they've got a lot of NFL Films producers on the show, combined with like entertainment type people. Like, I think it's going to be like, it's just my feel. Like, I think it's going to be a real hit. Like, I think all football fans, but people who aren't football fans, you know, like Jason Kelsey's wife just started a podcast. The thing just like they just got the golden touch right now.
Knocked Rogan out of first place on Spotify.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Jason said he wasn't sure if that's like real, not real. Like, you know, the numbers were big, but still, like, I think it's going to be, I don't know, like, I'm going to be a big fan of the show.
Is it, and that's going to be on ESPN on Friday night?
I'm not sure what network it is because I forgot to ask that yesterday.
I felt like it was on after Kim
sounds
on
like an
Fridays.
ESPN
Maybe ABC.
Oh, it's on ABC?
I thought,
it might
maybe
be
they
ABC.
check. It might be.
That'd be fantastic. Like, I could see, and you can meld. The thing about Jason is that he's good. You can meld the entertainment. Like, so you can have the football thing. He's got that, but he's got like a great wit about him, and you can hang out. He's like an everyman kind of guy, and you can
got
have
all that.
Pop
like,
culture.
He knows pop culture. Like, he can interview. Like, he, you know, just from being in the locker room, you know, you just get used to talking to all different types of people, and you know, his community service, just reaching out. It's all genuine. That's the thing that chips across. Like, he's so genuine, but he's like, what blew me away was, all right, here's a teleprompter, here's this. Like, he can freelance. Ryan Clark is throwing some suggestions at him. Producers throwing suggestions. Like, he just absorbs it and just fixes it right away. Like, it was really interesting to watch. And I think he wanted to do it every night. And they're like, hey, Jason, you got a busy schedule. This is going to be a little bit much. I think it might start off as sort of a pilot on Friday nights. And if it hits, it won't surprise me to see this thing be a nightly, show.
That would be amazing.
It's ESPN Friday nights.
It's ESPN?
1 a.m., I think.
Well,
Or
you know what
midnight.
they could do, like, and you could then, it could be on ABC, at some
They'll
point.
do all the social media stuff with it. Like all the experts to be all over the place. So, they'll brand it pretty big.
So it'd be perfect. Like the West Coast games of college basketball wind down Friday night. You could throw it on
He
1
would
a.m.
be awesome, man. Like, he would be great at it. Like, and you could see it. I'm with you.
So if it's at 1 a.m., so that means it'll be like live to tape.
Yeah,
Right,
they're
so they'll
taping.
tape it,
They're
then-
taping on Fridays at like 3:30, and then it's going to air
Yeah.
at 1 a.m. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey,
It's good.
Speaking of big things, so there is a guy. So Kenny Gamble is right, like sound of Philadelphia, like the Philly sound. He's like the guy. His son, Khalid, was chatting on one of your one of our Instagram posts, and he had a great point. He said, "All right, like Madden is incredible, but there needs to be a Baldy video game.
Okay.
Like as a secondary football game, the Baldy. I like this idea.
All right, so listen to this, Cubs. This is going back, I want to say 15 years ago. Microsoft was coming out with a football video game to compete with EA Sports, with Madden. So, anyways, they have a big audition, and I get the part as the analyst. So we taped. This was unbelievable. I went to New York City for 2 weeks, and we taped Monday through Saturday, literally 10 hours a day. And this is what I did. Honestly, I went like this for 10 hours a day. I went, nice pass by McMahon or McNabb. Nice pass by Garcia. Nice pass by Brady. Like I did this reads like for literally 10 straight hours. So they gave me a 2-year contract. They paid me some money. And wouldn't you know it, that Microsoft got bought out by EA. And the game never got, like my nephew, my nephews who are video junkies, like a lot of kids, like they saw like I was going to be the voice of this video game. I got more credibility from my 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old nephew at the time than anything else I could have done. So if somebody wants me to be the voice of some game right now, like I'm all in. I would do that in a second.
All right. The last thing I got to bring up to you, and this is seismic. Belichick to Chapel Hill. Now, like our man said, Chapel Bill, North Carolina. And Lombardi is with him as the GM.
Yeah. So, those guys go all the way back to Cleveland, right? So they were in Cleveland when Bill went there. Lombardi was just starting out his career. There was Schwartzy was there. There was Scott PHLY was there. Like, it was a big think tank back then. So Mike and Bill been together ever since. When Lombardi, things didn't fall apart in Cleveland, he went to New England with Bill. So he's in NFL films every Tuesday with Bill, and they see eye to eye with things. So, like, literally, Mike will handle the finances. They'll hire a GM.
So Mike he's the GM. Mike's going to be the GM.
So before this thing got announced yesterday, I was on some national show, and I'm like, this could be a good thing. And they're like, why? I go, because every one of these kids that's in college, whether he's 18 years old or he's in the transfer portal, and Bill says, come to Chapel Hill. Here's what we're going to do to get you ready for the NFL. This is your toolbox.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do. This is like your position. This is how, and he'll have Nick stopping in, Saban. Like he'll put Josh McDaniels run the offense. His kids will come coach the defense. Like, I think this thing, and I think Bill was looking at the landscape going, okay, I'm not going to the Jets. The Giants are a cesspool. Like Chicago, I just think he looked around going, okay, I'm not going to get one of those jobs, or it's a job I don't want. And like, let's coach, because he's a teacher at heart. Let's teach fundamentals of the game. Like, I understand there's going to be some sticking points. Our kids going to listen to a 72-year-old man. Like, I get that, generation gap. But I think kids that, like Nick had in Alabama, you want to go to the league, you come here, this is what you do. This is how we practice. This is how we prepare. You want to go have a career, you come here first, we'll get you there. Like, I think the thing has a real chance to work.
I do too. I'll be honest with you. I love where college football's at. It's my dream would be to be a GM.
Because you brought this point up months ago. Like, let's take Rowan College. And
I told you that.
Let's get a donor. Let's get the money. And with the money, we'll get the right people, and we'll go compete with Penn State.
Yeah.
And in some ways, like, North Carolina's been a good program. Matt Brown did a good job. They won a lot of games. They played, but they never competed with Penn State, Michigan, Georgia. Like, they couldn't compete. Like, they're going to compete. They're going to compete in the top 10 schools pretty quickly.
I think so too. I mean, you look at ACC.
You look at SMU. Like, you watched that game on Saturday night. It was a great game, right? But like that kid, that quarterback from South Oak Cliff, right? Like in South Dallas, like that kid looks like a star to me. He's just getting started. And so you get the quarterback, you get a couple of skilled players, like what Deion's doing in Colorado. Like, you can turn things around really fast in college football.
All you got to do is go to the prep.
Yeah,
you go to
right.
St. Joe's prep.
Those games last weekend were exciting. Like, that was fun to watch.
Nah, dude, I'm with you, man. And the playoff, it's like, this is awesome. College football is the greatest. And they're going to add, they're going to expand it. They have to tweak it a little bit. They'll expand to 16. They'll get rid of the buys. And you got to figure out how you seed, because you can't have the way they're seeded with Boise getting, like, that's bad. But they'll fix that.
That running back at Boise, though, is a hell of a player, man.
Genty.
He's some player.
Yeah, he's terrific.
We'll see.
Genty's terrific. He's good. But now, Penn State, assuming they win, will play Boise next round.
Okay. All right. Well, get your defense, get your run defense up. That kid can break one from anywhere.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he's a blast. There's some great stuff. I want to go over it with you at some point. Go look at the college football next week. All right, we'll go through the college football playoffs. All right.
Yeah. No, we'll take a look at that for sure.
Good. All right, listen, brother. Where are you headed this week?
I'm going to Los Angeles. We didn't talk about this game, but the Bucks play the Chargers. I'm I'm pretty good friends with the GM of the Bucks. We go back and forth during the week, every week. Like listen to this. Like you talk about teams that are turning things around.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's you got Liam Cohen. He came in to be the offense coordinator. He came from Sean McVay, right? But like they were dead last in running the last 2 years in a row. They're fourth in rushing right now. Like this Bucky Irving's the real deal. They fixed the offense line. The scheme is unbelievable. Like all those things, like the Bucks can now, they got to do it against the Chargers, out there. But like they fixed certain things in that organization right now. Like it was dreadful to watch them try to run the football the last 2 years. But like they've made the biggest jump I've seen. But the Chargers, Harbaugh is Harbaugh. So I can't wait to see Jim on the sidelines and talk to Derwin James and some of the guys there. Joe Alt, I've never met Joe, but I know his dad really good. Like I can't wait to get there on Sunday. Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome. That's a great game, and I love the way Baker's playing. Baker's playing some good football, man.
He's thrown some picks. He's thrown some interceptions. But the guy is, to me, Baker is just so refreshing. It's about football. It's about competition. Like, I'm going to fight like hell. Like, I'm a team guy. Like, he's just got that fight to him, man. It's just, I love Baker.
Baldy, did you see that one play where he's downfield blocking Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
He's like 20 yards downfield blocking.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he trails plays all the time. And that's not just once that's happened. Like you see that all the time, him like sprinting down the field. But I remember I did an Oklahoma game when he was there. And so I moved down the field before the game, just shooting the breeze. And I, introduced myself to him. Like he looked like a little kid warming up for the game. He's throwing passes behind his back. He's playing receiver. Like he's just out there literally having fun. Now it's profession now. You can't it's not quite the same as college. But I feel like there's a little kid that loves playing football inside of him every Sunday.
This is a good segue because I wanted to get your opinion on this because Baker's legendary for planting the flag. Now there's a congressperson in Ohio who's introduced a bill that would make it a felony to plant a flag at the center of the field. What are your thoughts on that, Baldy?
Well, it all blew up 2 weeks ago, and rivalry weekend, and we had all these melees that broke out, which scars college football. But it's also part of college, storming the field, the flag, there's such, reverence for your school. You don't get that at the NFL. We don't plant flags. That's a college thing. I kind of feel like if you don't want them to plant the flag, if you don't want Michigan to go plant the flag, at the horseshoe, then beat them. You'll go beat the team. You stop that from happening. You know it's coming. So part of me says, all right, get government out of this thing, man. Let the passion of college sports kind of do this. Now, I don't want to see the fights after the game, but do something about it if you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. My brother, safe trip out to L.A. It'll be great. We'll talk to you next week, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Sounds good, cuz. Enjoy this weekend. Pittsburgh, Philly, man. It's not going to get any bigger and better than that.
It's the best. Yeah, you're the best. Baldy! I love it. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. Our Rite Aid back in the day moment. Let's not forget. What do we got today, my brother?
Yeah, we got something that you brought up, which
Look
is
at this, dude. I
pretty
somehow
cool.
on Instagram, this story came up. Look at this. This is from 1965?
1961.
1961. Look at this thing. So there's a fan that comes on the field, right? Who was it, dude?
The fan?
No, what was the game? It was
the Patriots.
It was a Patriot fan. Play it again. Patriot fan comes out on the field and swats down the game-winning pass.
What?
Yeah.
And it
see it right there.
And it
That's it
stands?
there.
Yeah.
What? How?
How nuts is that?
How does it stand?
They let it stand.
What?
That's how.
Here we go.
In another
Follow
lifetime,
the cursor. I'll find him. Here he
now
comes.
that happens. Look at him. Look at him.
Yep, that's
and
it
he's
there.
not. This is a fan. He somehow sneaks on the field, and he swats the ball down. I was like, "What?"
That's winning, baby.
And they win the game.
That's outrageous.
Talk about rudimentary in another world. That's your Rite Aid back in the day moment. All right, it's going to do.
You got to
it
give
for
a
us.
trash man pick tonight. One quick one.
Yeah.
I like the Campbell fighting camels tonight.
I'm the trash man.
Against Citadel, they were -1.5. It's up to -2 on BetParks. So grab it before it goes higher. Campbell fighting camels.
Campbell.
Right,
Wow.
located right off the Cape Fear River, basically.
Oh,
Just
really?
down in North Carolina.
Yeah. That's it.
Is their name the Soups?
Yeah.
They're the fighting camels.
The camels.
Come on.
Come on, man. You don't know Campbell?
Yeah.
Campbell camels? Because there's so many camels in North Carolina. Right. All right. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow to get you set for Football Friday. Everybody, have a great night. We love you guys. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.